Chapter 123. Yes, not only do I want to find the rainbow light grass, I want to find more than one. A stalk of rainbow light grass is not enough to refine the profound rainbow pill. Song Shua said in a downcast tone. Ning Qing nodded. The profound rainbow pill is one of the highest ranked true grade 4 pills. If one does not have a tier 5 profound pill master, then refining it would indeed be very difficult. Dinzong has the cultivation of profound core realm. Who in the Hua continent could possibly injure him? Song Shua remained silent for a long while. Then he suddenly activated a sound isolation restriction. Ning Qing looked at Song Shua in a puzzled manner, but did not ask anything. He knew that Song Shua had placed the sound isolation restriction on him. It should not be just so that Ruemu Danqin and Meng Jingxiu could not hear them. Could it be that the God Wind Academy's Dinzong was seriously injured, and there was something else hidden? Brother Ning should know about the Yixing Ocean, right? It is the largest sea outside of the Yixing mainland. Song Shua unexpectedly did not directly speak about his father's serious injuries, but instead spoke about the Yixing Ocean. Ning Qing shook his head and said, I only know that the largest sea is the Mingat Sea. I came from the Ping continent, so I am very familiar with the Mingat Sea. Song Shua shook his head and said, the Mingat Sea area is just an inland sea of the Yixing Ocean. Compared to the Yixing Ocean, it is simply not worth mentioning. It is just a drop in the ocean. A lot of people knew that the Yixing mainland was vast and boundless, and also had 9 continents, which were divided into lower-class continents, intermediate-class continents, and advanced-class continents. In fact, if the Yixing mainland was thrown into the Yixing Ocean, it would disappear without a trace. The Yixing Ocean could only be seen from the edge of the continent. In the lower-leveled continents, only the Hua continent could reach the Yixing Ocean. But the Ping continent and the Yuan continent cannot see the Yixing Ocean. They can only see the inland sea, such as the Mingat Sea. Ning Qing sucked in a mouthful of cold air. He knew that the Ping continent was boundless, but he had not even gone to a corner of the Hua continent, let alone the Yixing mainland. Now listening to Tsang Rua say that the Yixing Ocean was even bigger than the Yixing mainland, what kind of cultivation would one need to have in order to travel across it? It was laughable that he still wanted to rush out of the Yixing mainland and return to Earth. After Tsang Shua came to know that Ning Qing did not know anything about the Yixing Ocean, he spoke even more clearly. I know this not because I have a lot of knowledge, but because my father told me about it. Among the cultivators with high cultivation, there was a rumor that in addition to the 9 continents of the Yixing mainland, there was also a 10th continent. It's just that this 10th continent is separated by the Yixing Ocean, so we are unable to see it. Ning Qing nodded. He was not surprised by this. In ancient times, China didn't even know that there was an American continent across the Pacific Ocean. It should be very normal for a continent or planet to have such a situation. I heard that the 10th continent is the place where the true powerhouses of the Yixing mainland gather. Moreover, the highest cultivation among them even surpasses the crucible transformation realm. Of course, even my father can't be sure. As Tsang Shua spoke till here, Ning Qing couldn't help but ask in a puzzled manner. I heard people say that in the Yixing mainland, the pinnacle of cultivation is the crucible transformation realm. Since your father is not sure about it, then how did he know about this matter? Song Shua sighed and said, the Yixing mainland's 9 continents is not as stable as it looks on the surface. In addition to the innumerable monstrous beasts that often erupt in beast tides, what is even more terrifying is the foreign enemies that come from the Yixing Ocean. Monstrous beasts and beast tide from the sea? When Ning Qing heard about the beast tide, he immediately remembered the beast tide that had occurred in the Mingat Sea. Song Shua shook his head and spoke, not just the monstrous beasts, but the cultivators from the opposite side of the Yixing Ocean. To cross the Yixing Ocean is as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Even if one cultivated to the pinnacle of the Yixing mainland, it would still be extremely difficult. Therefore the cultivators who cross from the opposite side of the Yixing Ocean would most likely fall in the Yixing Ocean. But there are also some cultivators who, before they fall, would find some islands in the Yixing Ocean. In these islands, they would then reproduce and reproduce their descendants. Even if the islands are large, but the resources are still limited. As the descendants of these people grow more and more, it also leads to a shortage of resources. Therefore they have to look for other islands or places with resources. And as a result, they ended up finding the Yixing mainland's 9 continents. It is not surprising. Ning Cheng somewhat understood and asked, "You mean to say, these people want to attack the Yixing mainland's 9 continents? Why is that? The Yixing mainland is vast and boundless. If those people come, then they should have a place to hide and cultivate." Song Shua spoke. "You do not know how many of these people there are. It is not thousands of them, but rather hundreds of thousands or even millions of them. Not only that, but they are also allied with the monstrous beasts from the Yixing Ocean. They want to turn the 9 continents into their territory. This kind of competition has never stopped. The Hua continent is equivalent to the Yixing Ocean's battlefield, so the war is relatively peaceful." My father was injured in the Yixing Ocean's battlefield. So this is the Great War of the 3 continents. Ah, I have heard of it. Ning Cheng nodded. When he had just arrived at the Tsongqing province, he had heard of the Great War of the 3 continents. Not only had he heard of it, but he also knew that the Falling Star Academy had chosen 10 places from the Tsongqing Academy, because a profound core expert from the Ping continent had made a great contribution in the Great War of the 3 continents. That profound core cultivator was called Lian Haoyan. When Ning Cheng thought of this name, he suddenly remembered Lian Hao, who he had killed. These 2 names seemed to have a difference of a single character. Song Shua's tone suddenly became a bit agitated. If my father was really in the Great War of the 3 continents, then he would have been injured by the Yixing Ocean's cultivators. But he was secretly injured by those treacherous people from the 3 continents. My father vowed to take revenge, but his core lake was broken, so even if he was angry, he could only grit his teeth and swallow it. Ning Cheng did not ask anything. He knew that since Song Shua spoke till here, then he would definitely talk about who had injured his father. The people who injured my father were the Shui clan's profound core cultivator Shui Yihan, and the Luoho Academy's profound core cultivator Lu Yi. These 2 people are extremely sinister and ruthless, secretly killing people from their own side, and even using the name of righteousness. They really are shameless to the extreme. Unfortunately, now only my father knows about their evil deeds. When I came to the Angry Axe Valley, my father had already told me that if I could not find the rainbow light grass, then I must not return to the Hua continent. Senior apprentice brother Ning, you and the Shui clan have a grudge, so I am telling you this. Although that Shui clan's profound core cultivator sneak attacked my father, but he was also seriously injured by my father, and should now be in the process of healing, but his injuries are relatively light. Song Shua finished speaking. His eyes were still full of anger. After listening to Song Shua's words, Ning Cheng suddenly stood up, as his face kept changing. He had never thought that the profound core dean of the Godwind Academy would unexpectedly be seriously injured by a profound core cultivator from the Shui clan. Was it right or wrong for him to leave Ji Luofei in the Godwind Academy? In case that Shui clan's profound core cultivator recovered from his injuries and came to the Godwind Academy, then what would he do? But I think that Shui Yihan of the Shui clan, even if he recovered from his injuries, would not dare to casually come to my Godwind Academy. In any case, the Godwind Academy is a 5-star academy, so even if I cannot find the rainbow light grass, I will still return to the Hua continent. Song Shua did not care about Ning Cheng's thoughts, and still continued to speak. Ning Cheng was not in the mood to talk to Song Shua. He just wanted to wait for the Angry Axe Valley to close, and then immediately return to the Godwind Academy to take Ji Luofei away. If he had known about this matter, then even if he had to take the risk, he would have brought Ji Luofei to his side. Song Shua, seeing Ning Cheng silent, also no longer spoke. At this time the whole room suddenly shook. Not only was it shaking, but the shaking was getting bigger and bigger. Senior apprentice brother Tsang, what's wrong? Ruemu Danchin was the first to ask in a panic. She was the youngest, and was unable to quickly adapt to some sudden events. Song Shua also did not know what was going on. When the sound tablet inside the room suddenly sounded out, the airship has encountered an attack from a monstrous beast over the Lost Mountain range. Everyone is to stay in their rooms, do not go out casually. Ning Cheng was also secretly horrified. This airship was flying at such a high altitude, and yet it was still being attacked by a monstrous beast. What kind of monstrous beast was this? Wasn't it a bit too powerful? This kind of shaking and tumbling lasted for an entire day before it slowly stabilized. That monstrous beast should have been killed. Feeling that the room had calmed down, Meng Jingxiu said with a sigh. The few of them were also relieved, in case the airship was breached from such a high altitude, even if they did not fall to their deaths, but if they fell into the Lost Mountain range, then it would be a 9 out of 10 death situation. But just as they were able to relax, the airship once again shook. In this way, the airship continued to shake. Everyone was not in the mood to cultivate. Every day they lived in fear, fearing that the airship would be torn apart by the monstrous beast's attack. It was not until half a month later that the airship completely stabilized. In this half a month, the few of them, in addition to occasionally going out to eat in the food cabin, could only hide in their rooms. Ning Cheng went out several times, but did not see that King Swan and I again. After experiencing half a month of shaking, the airship finally stabilized. Ning Cheng was also relieved. He did not want to fall into the Lost Mountain range. Once he entered the Lost Mountain range, he did not know when he would be able to return to the Hua continent. Ning Xiaocheng, Senior Kong has asked you to come over. At this time, an essence-building cultivator opened the door of the room where Ning Cheng and the others were staying and spoke. Ning Cheng and the others knew this person. It was the same essence-building cultivator who had brought Ning Cheng and the others into the cabin when Ning Cheng and the others had just boarded the airship. Ning Cheng stood up in doubt. He did not know who this Senior Kong was. But now that he was on someone else's airship, no matter which senior called him, he could only go over. Following the essence-building cultivator to the deck of the airship, Ning Cheng found that the deck was stained with blood. The traces of the battle had not been completely erased. Ning Cheng had studied array formations, so he knew that the defensive array formation on the deck had been rearranged. When they had boarded the airship from the Moze City's Grand Plaza, the deck was still clean, but now it was stained with blood. It could be seen that in the last half a month, the airship had suffered a lot of attacks. A dignified man was sitting on a green rattan chair at the edge of the deck. In front of him was a white jade table. On top of the jade table was a cup of spiritual tea. The spiritual tea was still giving off a trace of steam. When Ning Cheng saw this man, he immediately recognized him. It was the dignified man who had presided over the first and second round of the Moze Grand Plaza. He immediately knew that this person should be that Senior Kong, and quickly stepped forward and gave a respectful bow and said, "Junior Ning Cheng greets Senior Kong." "Are you Ning Cheng?" the dignified man asked in a light voice. "It is indeed this junior." Ning Cheng was a little uneasy in his heart. He did not understand why this person had come to look for him. This dignified man nodded, but unexpectedly did not ask why Ning Cheng wanted to change his name. Instead he pointed to another green rattan chair opposite him, and said to Ning Cheng in a warm voice, "You sit down, I want to ask you a few questions." Chapter 124. Ning Cheng suppressed the nervousness in his heart and spoke. "In front of Senior, this junior does not dare to sit. Senior, feel free to ask. I will tell you everything I know." People under the eaves have no choice but to bow their heads. Ning Cheng sighed in his heart. This person surnamed Kang's cultivation definitely exceeded the profound core realm, and was at least a cultivator in the soul essence realm. Cloud soul realm cultivators had their own primordial spirits. Even if his physical body was damaged, as long as his primordial spirit existed, he would be able to reincarnate. Or perhaps he could reconstruct his body. The primordial spirit was not a soul. It could be said that, with the exception of the fleshly body, the primordial spirit possessed most of a cultivator's abilities. The dignified-looking man nodded, expressing his satisfaction with Ning Cheng's tactfulness. He pondered for a moment before saying, "What hybrid spiritual root do you have?" This junior has not been tested in detail, but when I joined the 2-Star Academy, I had taken the test once, and it was said that I have a 4-element spiritual root, and can be considered as a good hybrid spiritual root. Ning Cheng replied without even half a moment of hesitation. There were a lot of people who knew that he was Ning Cheng, and there were also a lot of people who knew that he had a 4-line hybrid spiritual root. As such, he simply did not need to hide it. The reason why he said that his hybrid spiritual root was better was to explain his cultivation. I watched the match. You could have easily helped the Godwind Academy win the first place. Why did you give up in the end? The dignified-looking man continued to ask. Ning Chung spoke in a calm and unhurried manner. After this junior joined the Godwind Academy, I came to know that the profound core dean of the Godwind Academy was seriously injured. Deacon Lucien believed that the Godwind Academy did not have the help of the seniors from the intermediate class continents. Even if it was promoted to a 6-star academy, it would not be able to keep its position as a 6-star academy. This junior deeply agrees with what Deacon Lu said. Plus, the Godwind Academy really does not have the qualifications to be promoted to a 6-star academy. So I took the initiative to give up the idea of fighting for the first place for the Godwind Academy. It's not that Junior doesn't want to fight for first place on purpose. Senior, please understand. Ning Chung pretended to be confused. It was obviously his idea, but he had imposed it on Lucien. He believed that the person in front of him would not go and confront Lucien. The dignified-looking man nodded and said, "What you said is right. This round of the tournament is a bit rushed. The third round of the tournament is really not enough to select the strongest 5-star academy. At best, they could only choose the most powerful true condensation cultivator. Let's put this matter aside. I will ask you again. You have a 4-line hybrid spiritual root. It is reasonable to say that your cultivation would not increase this fast. So why are you already at true condensation 3rd level?" This time Ning Chung did not conceal anything, and directly said that he had obtained a spiritual essence spring pond in the Dawn Forest. She even took the initiative to draw the location, and gave it to the dignified man in front of her. The dignified-looking man was already aware that Ning Chung had obtained the spiritual essence pond. So now that Ning Chung answered him, he did not find it strange at all, as he took the things that Ning Chung had drawn and looked at them, before he put them away in a non-committal manner and spoke. "I saw that during the tournament, you had also comprehended a kind of axe intent and a kind of spear intent. Moreover, your spear intent had even reached the realm of minor accomplishment. Ordinary people, even if their aptitude is heaven-defying, would not be able to comprehend 2 types of killing intents at your age. Can you explain that to me?" Ning Chung was secretly relieved. He was not afraid of this person asking him why his cultivation was so high, but he was afraid that this person would ask him when was the last time he encountered a spiritual essence spring. If the other party really asked such a question, he really did not know how to answer. He wanted to lie to the other party, but he was also afraid that the other party had already investigated him thoroughly. If he didn't lie to the other party, he would be dead for sure. Now that the other party did not ask this question, Ning Chung was sure that the other party had not investigated his situation in detail. Thinking until here, Ning Chung felt a bit more at ease in his heart. He slowly spoke about the large battlefield that he had seen in the Dawn Forest, and even the spear marks and the axe marks were clearly described. At the same time, he also took out the broken spear from his storage bag and handed it to the dignified-looking man in front of him. When the man took back his broken spear, Ning Chung spoke in a slightly complacent tone. "My ability to comprehend is innate. It is just like the additional question that the 5-star academy put out for the selection of disciples. I was able to easily obtain the answer." Ning Chung quickly spoke about his own ability. When he heard the other party say that he had comprehended 2 types of killing intents, he was even more frightened in his heart. He did not understand what an origin was, but he was sure that the reason why he could comprehend the killing intents so quickly was definitely related to the mysterious yellow bead. The man gave an sound. Apparently he was aware of Ning Cheng's formidable computing ability. After he looked at the broken spear in his hands, he handed the broken spear back to Ning Chung and asked, "You have a hybrid spiritual root, so it is normal that you cannot see the changes in the leather scroll. With your ability, you should be able to determine that there must have been some changes to the first question. Why did you write that there was no change? As long as you fill in changes, even if you can't answer the following questions, won't you get another 5 points?" Ning Chung hurriedly replied in a respectful manner. After this junior looked at the questions behind the questions, I really knew that there were some changes in the questions. However, this junior thinks that it's better not to do such an opportunistic thing, because even if he did, he wouldn't be able to get any ranking with 5 more points, so he might as well fill in the form based on reality. Besides, even if there were changes in the answer, Senior would know that this question was a wild guess. This junior is very much looking forward to going to the Angry Axe Valley, and really does not want to give Senior any bad impression. The dignified old man nodded, and gave an sound, and was extremely satisfied with Ning Cheng's answer. Not bad. At such a young age you already have such a strong comprehension ability, and can even restrain your own desires. In the future you will definitely be able to achieve great things. He had already seen Ning Cheng's little bit of complacency from before, but towards Ning Cheng's little bit of complacency, he did not think much of it. After all, he was still a young man, and Ning Cheng did not seem to have even reached 30 years of age. After achieving some results, it was only natural for him to be complacent. Because Ning Cheng had a beard, and had experienced many things in the Dawn Forest and the Thunderfall Desert. As such he looked much older than his actual age. If this man knew that Ning Cheng was not even 19 years old, perhaps he would not have thought like this. If you have any questions you can also ask me. After the dignified man finished asking the question, his tone seemed to have eased a lot. Ning Cheng quickly asked, "Senior, may I ask if the entrance to the Angry Axe Valley is in the Jia continent?" The man faintly smiled and said, "No, to be exact, there are 6 entrances to the Angry Axe Valley. There are entrances to both the intermediate class continents and the high class continents. The Jia continent is the closest to the Hua continent. Strictly speaking, the distance between the Angry Axe Valley entrance and the Hua continent is even shorter than the distance to the Jia continent. It is only because of the Lost Mountain Range in the middle. Because after we pass through the Lost Mountain Range, and after flying for a few days, we can reach the entrance to the Angry Axe Valley." Listening to the dignified man's answer, Ning Cheng quickly said, "Many thanks to Senior for dispelling my doubts. This junior does not have any questions." It was impossible for him to not have any questions. Ning Cheng really wanted to ask about the 10th continent, as well as some things about the Yixing Ocean. But he knew that the more he spoke, the more mistakes he would make, the more the other party called him, although it was not necessarily because he suspected him, but it was definitely because he had some doubts about his spear intent and axe intent. Of course, not asking a question was also not good. This was something that Ning Cheng had read about in psychology. If he asked the other party a question with the attitude of a scholar, then it would imperceptibly lower the other party's guard against him. Good, you can go back first. The rest of the journey should not be too dangerous. You can also go out of the cabin and walk around. After the dignified man finished speaking to Ning Cheng, he picked up the white jade spiritual teacup on the table. Ning Cheng quickly said his goodbyes and hurried back to his room. Once he returned to his room, Ning Cheng was not in the mood to speak. He originally wanted to ask Lian Haoyan about it, but now he did not have any thoughts. He just took out the Alchemy Foundation jade piece that the old woman had given him to look at. The other 3 people saw that Ning Cheng was not in the mood to speak, and tactfully went back to their own cultivation. A few days quickly passed by. On this day Ning Cheng and the others felt that their center of gravity had dropped, and knew that the airship should be descending. Ning Cheng quickly put away the Alchemy Foundation jade piece, and said to Tsang Shua and the others, "Prepare to get off the airship. After we enter the Angry Axe Valley, everyone try not to separate. I heard that it is very dangerous inside. Every time a lot of people enter the Angry Axe Valley, many of them would fall." "I know, Senior Apprentice Brother Xiaocheng," Ruemu Danqin said in a crisp voice, although she already had the cultivation of intermediate stage true condensation realm. But the God Wind Academy had always treated her as a treasure, and as such did not give her the opportunity to temper herself. Compared to the other girls of the same age, she was far inferior. She only knew that she had to listen to her senior apprentice brother Ning Cheng's words. That Yuing was not much older than Ruemu Danqin, but her mind was very mature. It was as if she was a person who had been through the Jianghu for a long time. After the airship landed, Ning Cheng followed the others out of the airship. This time Ning Cheng deliberately paid attention to the people who came down from the airship, and once again saw King Xiao Xiao. At this time she had her head down, and was also wearing a veil, and even her body shape had slightly changed, but Ning Cheng was still able to see that this woman was Xiao Xiao. Yuing saw Ning Cheng looking at her, and deliberately smiled at Ning Cheng. It was because of her big brother that her view of Ning Cheng had changed a bit. Ningqing nodded to Yuing. He was not interested in paying attention to this little girl. For her to be brought to the Celestial Globe 7-Star Academy was definitely not a good thing. But it was not something that he could control. Ningqing was already stunned by the scene in front of him. How was this the entrance to the Angry Axe Valley? This place was simply a vegetable market. Ningqing roughly calculated. There were at least hundreds of thousands of people here. As far as the eye could see, there were all kinds of stalls, and all kinds of temporary shops. It was incomparably noisy. Passing through the noisy crowd, there was a white mist lingering around, and inside the mist there was a rumbling sound. It made people suspect that there would be an explosion at any time. The Angry Axe Valley is shrouded in mist. We cannot go in now. Once we get close, we will be pushed out by a formidable force. The Angry Axe Valley has not yet opened, but after it opens, we will give each of you a jade card. With the help of the jade card you will be able to enter. A cultivator with the cultivation of essence building realm stood at the exit of the airship, and spoke to Ningqing and the others. At this time, the dignified-looking man surnamed Kong slowly walked out of the airship. He glanced at Ningqing and the other 22 people, and then deliberately nodded to Yuing and said, "You will come with me, the rest of you will wait here for the Angry Axe Valley to open." As he spoke till here, he suddenly stopped, looked at Yong Gu-yun in the crowd and asked, "You are only at Qi Gathering 9th level. How come you were selected to participate in the Angry Axe Valley?" Yong Gu-yun quickly replied in a respectful manner. "This junior is a cultivator from the Ping continent. Because I made a great contribution to the Falling Star Academy, I was able to obtain a quota." "Oh, is that Ningqing also from the Ping continent?" The man nodded and asked. Yong Gu-yun immediately replied, "Reporting to Senior, Ningqing came here from the Dawn Forest half a year ago. Before he entered the Dawn Forest, he was only at the Qi Gathering realm, but his progress is much better than mine." When Ningqing heard this, he immediately screamed in his heart. Chapter 125. When Ningqing was in the Qi Gathering realm, he had encountered a Class 3 monstrous beast, although he was not able to defeat a Class 3 monstrous beast. But that was the Dawn Forest. He generally did not go and provoke those Class 3 monstrous beasts. But now, he wasn't the one who wanted to provoke a Class 3 demonic beast. It was the Class 3 demonic beast that provoked him. Along the way, he did not see even half an axe trace, but the aura of the axe charm was still being captured by him, causing Ningqing to gradually enter into a state of selflessness. At this moment, he only knew that he was constantly using his hands to chop out the axe intent that he had comprehended, and then step by step he walked towards the place where the aura of the axe charm was even more concentrated. Ningqing forced himself to stand up, and without even thinking about it, turned around and walked away. He knew that he was definitely not a match for this monstrous beast. Just a moment ago, his spear had only blasted a bloody hole in the monstrous beast's palm, but the monstrous beast did not seem to notice it at all. Once he was entangled by the monstrous beast, his best outcome would be to perish together with the monstrous beast. Ningqing looked around and once again found a few pieces of silver light jades. He did not search the entire messy stone field. After all, the silver light jade was not a high-level thing. This was the Angry Axe Valley, and the valley would only open for 3 months. It was said that there were many good things in the Angry Axe Valley, so if he stayed in this gravel field, then the gains would not make up for the losses. He almost rushed to the entrance of the Angry Axe Valley in the shortest time possible, but unfortunately, Ningqing had already entered the Angry Axe Valley 1 step ahead of him, and was once again blown away by that white mist. Just a little bit more, and he would have been able to catch Ningqing. If it was an ordinary person, he would have lost half his life. The scene was already noisy and chaotic. Ningqing's words were equivalent to throwing a few sparks into an extremely dry bag of explosives. As these words came out, countless people immediately rushed towards the entrance of the Angry Axe Valley. What made Ningqing amazed was that most of the people who were rushing towards the entrance of the Angry Axe Valley were not pushed out. Only a small number of people were pushed out. Saying that, Ningqing loudly shouted, "The Angry Axe Valley has already opened. Because of the explosion at the entrance, now you do not need a jade card to go in. You can go in early, but you can't go in late." Plop! At this moment, Ningqing was thrown onto a rugged gravel ground, causing his entire body to feel pain from the rubble. Ning Cheng was burning with anxiety. He knew that if he did not think of a way at this time, then once that dignified-looking man came over, then he would definitely die. Ning Cheng did not have the time to answer when he heard an extremely terrifying explosion, causing the entire ground to tremble. Previously, when that essence-building cultivator had pointed at the entrance of the Angry Axe Valley, a huge mushroom cloud had already risen up. The reason why he felt that it was familiar was because he had felt this kind of aura before. Initially, when he was in the Dawn Forest, he had seen a crack created by a great axe, and he had comprehended the axe intent next to that crack, and this faintly discernible aura was precisely this axe intent. Now that Yong Guyun said that Ning Cheng had come from the Dawn Forest for less than a year, he immediately became suspicious. Even if a person with a 4-line hybrid spiritual root soaked in the spiritual essence pond, it would still be impossible for them to advance from the Qi-gathering realm to the true condensation 3rd level in just a year. No matter what, it was better to leave this place first. The long spear in Ning Cheng's hand directly brought out the imposing aura from the surroundings, as it stabbed towards the head of this monstrous beast. This monstrous beast in the air felt that Ning Cheng's spear was not as simple as it looked, and once again roared loudly, as it raised its huge palms to meet Ning Cheng's spear. For Ning Cheng, not to mention that he did not know where the treasures were, even if he knew, he would not be able to go there at this time. His whole person had already sunk into an unconscious epiphany. Bang! Ning Cheng's spear, which brought out the imposing aura from the surroundings, immediately exploded on the thick palms of this monstrous beast, bringing out a curtain of blood. As an expert who had cultivated to the soul essence realm, his thinking was very meticulous. As such, he did not doubt Ning Cheng's words. As such, Ning Cheng's answer was not strange at all. Besides, he also believed that Ning Cheng was just an early-stage true condensation cultivator, and would not dare to deceive him. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept out at the people who were thrown out of the Angry Axe Valley, and immediately determined that there was a change in the Angry Axe Valley. These people who were pushed out, all of their cultivations had already surpassed the essence-building realm. In other words, all the cultivators who were in the essence-building realm and below could now enter, and not only those who were in the essence-building realm and below could enter. Bang bang, the monstrous beast called out a few times. It was just like the sound of a broken door, while it bared its fangs and hissed at Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng stepped forward and picked up the silver light jade. His heart was filled with expectations. Perhaps this place would give him an unexpected surprise. Ning Cheng was even crazier to rush forward. It was not only Ning Cheng who discovered this problem. All the cultivators in front of the Angry Axe Valley also discovered this problem. At this moment, more than 100,000 people formed a human-shaped tide, flowing in the direction of the Angry Axe Valley. But Ning Cheng soon became excited, as he saw a rank 4 crafting material, silver light jade. Silver light jade was a material used to refine top-quality artifacts. Moreover, the artifacts that were mixed with the silver light jade were extremely beautiful, and were the most popular among female cultivators. This piece of silver light jade had been weathered by the wind and rain outside, and was now incomparably bright and clean. Ning Cheng opened his hand, and the long spear immediately fell into his palm. At the same time, he was able to clearly see this shadow. It was a rank 3 monstrous beast. Its entire body was pale gray in color, and was almost the same color as the gravel field. Its head and neck were almost the same length. It somewhat looked like a brown bear, but its size was much bigger than a bear. As for what kind of monstrous beast this was, Ning Cheng simply did not know. Ning Cheng, stop right there. The dignified-looking cultivator surnamed Kong, who had been blown away by the white mist at the entrance of the Angry Axe Valley, finally understood what was going on. Ning Cheng actually wanted to run away. Not only did he want to run away, but he was also encouraging the others to run away together with him. This dignified-looking man did not wait for Ning Cheng to answer, and immediately took a step forward. He wanted to check out the situation, but he had just stepped into the misty area, when he was immediately blown away by an extremely powerful force. In an instant, he passed over the heads of Ning Cheng and the others. It was obvious that this kind of force was incomparably powerful. Feeling this incomparably clear axe intent, Ning Cheng unexpectedly forgot that he was still in the Angry Axe Valley, and instead unconsciously followed the traces left behind by the axe kill. Feeling a burst of dizziness, Ning Cheng was swept away by the white mist, but he was actually relieved. At this time he should have already entered the Angry Axe Valley. At least now he did not need to worry about that guy surnamed Kong. Ning Cheng lowered his body and carefully sensed the movements around him, when he suddenly caught a faintly discernible familiar aura. At this time, Ning Cheng was already very careful. In case a Class 4 monstrous beast suddenly appeared from somewhere, he would not even be able to avoid it. At this time, even if Ning Cheng did not desperately try to squeeze into the Angry Axe Valley, he would still be quickly brought in by the crowd. Yu Ing and Yong Gu Yun, who had lower cultivations, did not even have half a shred of ability to resist. Other than following the crowd, there was no other way to change the situation. If they forced their way through the crowd, with their cultivation, it would simply be courting death. But the huge backlash force directly blew away Ning Cheng. This monstrous beast did not even care about its palm, and once again pounced towards Ning Cheng. Thinking until here, Ning Cheng did not feel happy at all. The territories of the monstrous beasts were also divided according to their strength. This piece of gravel field obviously did not have many treasures. It could be seen that the monstrous beast that he was fighting a moment ago belonged to the category of people who did not have much skill. If he could not even beat a person who did not have much skill, then once he met someone with some skill, then what would he do? This piece of gravel field was not small, but Ning Cheng was not familiar with the Angry Axe Valley, so he did not dare to bring out a flight-type magical weapon. Just as Ning Cheng was calculating in which direction he should go, a subtle flow of air made Ning Cheng cautiously dodge to the side. Almost at the same time when Ning Cheng dodged to the side, a dark shadow with a fishy smell swept past Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng's speed was extremely fast, and in just a short time, he had already rushed out of the gravel field. But when he looked back, he found that the monstrous beast had not followed him. Ning Cheng finally understood that the gravel field was the territory of the monstrous beast. Ning Cheng suppressed the surprise in his heart. He did not expect that he had just entered the Angry Axe Valley, and was able to feel the axe-type killing intent of the Angry Axe Valley. This axe-type intent was much purer than the one he had felt in the Dawn Forest, or rather it was simply incomparable. Not only that, but there was also an axe charm in it. Ning Cheng came to understand that the person who had left behind that axe trace in the Dawn Forest must have also come to the Angry Axe Valley. That person's axe-type intent was also comprehended in the Angry Axe Valley. No wonder he had this familiar feeling. At this time the scene was already in a mess. It was a complete mess. Ning Cheng, Song Shua and the others had already been pushed away. In fact, he did not care about the other people. Since he was blocked by that dignified-looking man, then he would undoubtedly die. Song Shua and the others, even if they did not have the time to go in, they would not be in any danger to their lives. Ning Cheng slowly got up. As he looked around, he was somewhat puzzled in his heart. Was this the inside of the Angry Axe Valley? How come he could not even see a trace of the valley? Moreover, there were gravel everywhere. He could not even see the edge of the valley. Not only that, with so many people coming in, he could not even see a single one of them, not to mention Song Shua and the others who were with him. At this time, he suddenly saw two essence-building cultivators rushing into the mist. Unexpectedly, they were not pushed away like that dignified-looking man. Ning Cheng's heart was immediately moved. He eagerly said to Song Shua and the others who were at his side, "Hurry up and follow me inside. If we get separated, then we can find an opportunity to meet again in the Angry Axe Valley. Hurry up and go in. If we are late, then we will not be able to go in. There are spiritual grasses and strange treasures everywhere." At this time Ning Cheng was rushing forward, while shouting and shouting. If he did not take advantage of this situation, then he would really be a fool. After seeing Ning Cheng take out his spear, this monstrous beast did not even have half a shred of scruples as it rushed towards Ning Cheng. At this moment, in the entire Angry Axe Valley, there was no one who was looking for spiritual grasses and treasures, and also did not look for the ancient immortal cave. Perhaps other than those with low strength, there was only Ning Cheng alone. "Ning Cheng, how old are you this year?" This dignified-looking man suddenly turned to Ning Cheng and asked. Chapter 126. Yu Ing was hiding in a hidden rock cave, while holding a ring in her hand, and did not dare to move. She was brought in by the flow of the crowd. As such, she simply could not resist even the slightest bit. After Ewing entered the Angry Axe Valley, she knew that she had to find a place to hide, and could not casually go out. At the same time, she also prayed that no one would find this place, otherwise with her chi-gathering 6th level cultivation, it would be a dead end for her. What Ewing did not expect was that after she entered the rock cave, the first thing she saw was a skeleton, and in front of the skeleton was a ring. Ewing immediately grabbed the ring in her hands. After all, she had stayed in the Clear Heart Academy and the Falling Star Academy. She knew that she was definitely lucky this time, as she was able to obtain a storage ring in her hands. A full 2 days passed by. Ewing, in addition to finding some snacks to eat in her storage bag, did not dare to go out and look around. The bursts of monstrous beasts roaring outside made her feel palpitations and fear. After 2 days, she dared to use her thoughts to grind the storage ring in her hand. What made her pleasantly surprised was that the storage ring in her hand was unexpectedly very easy to open. The things inside the ring made her heart completely unable to calm down. Ewing used her pitiful knowledge of array formations, and once again hid the entrance to the cave, and even found a large boulder to block the entrance to the cave. She once again returned to the rock cave, and carefully cultivated, while waiting for the Angry Axe Valley to close. Ningqing suddenly opened his eyes. He felt a huge axe shadow exploding into his spiritual sense. At this time Ningqing did not even think about it, as he raised his hand and punched out with his axe fist. The axe fist did not explode into any of the great axe shadows, but the axe-type killing intent that was generated from his thoughts exploded onto the invisible great axe shadows, and in his sea of consciousness which had not yet formed a huge explosion. After this explosion, Ningqing was directly thrown dozens of meters away, as he spat out a mouthful of blood and slammed into a huge rock wall. Ningqing immediately sat down cross-legged, although he was not killed by this axe shadow, but he could feel the terrible power of this axe shadow. The killing intent of the axe shadow continued to form in Ningqing's consciousness, as the surrounding spiritual qi continued to gather. Even Ningqing himself did not know that he was not only comprehending and perfecting the axe shadow in his consciousness, but his cultivation was also constantly rising, and rising again. Ningqing did not open his eyes, but he could feel that the spiritual qi that was gathering towards him contained an aura that he had never come into contact with before. This aura of spirit qi was even purer than the spirit qi he felt at the gate of the immortal abode at the bottom of the cold river. However, this aura was too thin, so thin that it was almost non-existent. Even if this kind of aura was thin to the point that it was almost non-existent, Ningqing's cultivation still continued to rise. His cultivation had advanced from the true condensation 3rd level to the middle stage of the true condensation 3rd level, late stage. A clear and desolate axe shadow finally took shape in his spiritual sense, forming into an axe that was hard to describe in words. This axe intent was so formidable that Ningqing could not wait to immediately stand up and chop it down with his axe. After this axe intent was completely formed in his consciousness, his cultivation also directly broke through the shackles from the late stage of true condensation 3rd level, and directly broke through to the true condensation 4th level. Ningqing gave a long roar and suddenly stood up. At this time he could clearly see that there was a skeleton lying a few dozen meters away from him. Ningqing knew that he was also blown away from that place a moment ago. Ningqing once again slowly walked to the front of this skeleton, and found a golden axe in front of the skeleton. The axe light was nearly half a meter wide, and was completely golden in color. Perhaps it was because of the erosion caused by the axe intent in the Angry Axe Valley, but this golden axe did not have any trace of being handcrafted. It was as if it was a naturally formed axe. The clothes of this skeleton had already turned to ash, and a storage bag had long since decayed. Even the things inside the storage bag no longer existed. Only a golden buckle was lying under the palm of this skeleton. Ningqing picked up this axe, and saw that there were a few words engraved on the handle of the axe: Lan Yuchen's golden axe. Ningqing could see that this axe was just a best quality artifact. He had already guessed that this Lan Yuchen should have come to the Angry Axe Valley to comprehend the axe intent, but what was different from him was that this Lan Yuchen had his own axe. Thinking that when he had come to this place a moment ago, a terrifying axe shadow had suddenly appeared in his spiritual sense, Ningcheng already understood how Lan Yuchen had fallen. Lan Yuchen had also come to this place, but he was not able to block that axe shadow. As a result, the axe shadow of the Angry Axe Valley had blasted into his Zifu, and finally fell here. After understanding this point, Ningcheng even felt some fear in his heart. If he had not comprehended that trace of axe intent in the Dawn Forest, then at this time, wouldn't he have already fallen? Ningcheng put aside Lan Yuchen's golden great axe. He had obtained an axe, although the grade of this axe was very low, but it would allow him to have some power to protect himself in this place. Thinking of the source of drinking water, Ningcheng felt that he should bury Lan Yuchen's bones. He blasted a hole in the ground, and put Lan Yuchen's bones into a jade box, and then put the jade box into the hole. Before burying the hole, Ningcheng once again picked up the golden buckle. There was a line of words engraved on the buckle. Tell my husband Yuchen to be careful outside. His wife Miao Shu is looking forward to it day and night. Ningcheng's heart was somewhat sad. This golden buckle should have been given to Lan Yuchen by his wife Miao Shu. His wife's meaning was that she was looking forward to her husband returning to her side as soon as possible, to live and cultivate together with her. But she did not think that her husband, who was trying to comprehend the axe-type killing intent in the Angry Axe Valley, would unexpectedly fall in this place. Ningcheng sighed. He remembered an ancient poem that he had once learned. Pitiful bones by the indefinite river, still in the dreams of the people in their boudoir. Compared to Lan Yuchen, wasn't he also the same? Ji Luofei was still waiting for him in the Godwind Academy. He absolutely could not be like Lan Yuchen, and let the people who were waiting for him look forward to it without any hope. Ningcheng put the buckle back into the jade box, and then filled up the hole. This buckle was the proof of love between Lan Yuchen and his wife Miao Shu. As such, there was no need to take it away. Ningcheng once again grabbed the golden great axe. As the majestic killing intent once again poured into his mind, Ningcheng suddenly leapt up, as the great axe in his hands came crashing down. A golden great axe shadow appeared out of thin air, and in a flash cut through everything in front of the great axe, bringing with it an imposing manner, as it swept away all the killing intent in the surroundings. At this moment, the great axe shadow was as if it wanted to cut through the blue dome of the sky. The imposing manner was extremely fierce. Just like the autumn wind sweeping away the fallen leaves, the desolate and sharp killing intent was blasted out by the great axe in Ningcheng's hands. When this great axe shadow was blasted out, it was exactly the same as the traces of the axe shadow that Ningcheng had comprehended before, but when this great axe shadow took shape and gathered its power, this great axe shadow already had Ningcheng's own emotions and trajectory. Bang! The golden great axe shadow exploded on the huge stone wall. As it issued an astonishing explosion, the surrounding stones splashed everywhere. The huge hard stone wall was blasted open by this great axe shadow, leaving a deep mark on it. Such a powerful great axe. Ningcheng felt that this great axe was several times more powerful than the spear intent that he had comprehended before. This great axe had such a strong axe-killing intent. It must be given a name. Ningcheng could not think of a better name for it, but thinking that this axe was the first type of axe intent that he had comprehended in the Angry Axe Valley, moreover with its formidable imposing manner, it was able to carve out a deep scar in the Angry Axe Valley, so he simply called it the Angry Axe First Move, the First Trace. Angry Axe First Trace. This name looked very simple, but after Ningcheng thought of this name, he was extremely fond of it. He held the great axe in his hands, and at this moment his heart was filled with a strong self-confidence. He had not refined this great axe, but it was still able to display such a formidable might. Once he refined this great axe, and used all of his strength to blast out the first trace, just how terrifying would it be? In the future when he obtained an even more formidable axe, just how powerful would its might be? Ningcheng did not immediately refine the great axe in his hands. It was not until this moment that he had the time to observe the place he was in. This was a deep and long valley. Ningcheng did not know when he came in, nor did he know how he came in. This deep valley was filled with an incomparably formidable axe-type killing intent. This kind of axe charm was constantly circling around him, allowing his comprehension of the axe intent to continue to sublimate, and then sublimate again. Ningcheng could feel the surrounding axe charm, and was even more delighted. He decided to first refine the golden great axe in his hands, and then slowly comprehend the axe-type killing intent in the Angry Axe Valley. Even if he could not obtain anything in the Angry Axe Valley, as long as he could comprehend the axe-type killing intent, for him, the harvest would be huge. Not to mention that the Angry Axe Valley also had a much better spiritual chi for cultivation, although this kind of spiritual chi was very thin. Refining a best quality artifact was not difficult for Ning Cheng, but what made Ning Cheng pleasantly surprised was that after he refined the golden great axe in his hands, he unexpectedly obtained a new piece of information. Inside this great axe, there was a detailed explanation of killing intent. Killing intent and magic techniques had an essential difference. Killing intent was a magic weapon or a magic technique, or even an origin power derived from it. A person who was able to control a formidable killing intent could even destroy all obstacles with their own killing intent. Whether it was sword intent, spear intent, or axe intent, all of them were extensions of killing intent, and belonged to the category of killing intent. But killing intent was also divided into high and low levels. Not only were there high and low levels, but there were also 5 realms of killing intent. When one could initially feel the killing intent, and was able to use the killing intent, this was the initial stage of the killing intent. Ning Cheng knew that when he was in the Dawn Forest and saw the spear marks and the axe marks, and was able to comprehend the axe fist, he could already feel the killing intent. The killing intent's second realm of the small accomplishment was able to stimulate one's own killing intent through one's own magic weapon against the enemy, forming the initial stage of the killing power. Ning Cheng understood that he had also surpassed the realm of the small accomplishment. When he was fighting against Meng Yujing, he was able to comprehend the spear technique, which showed that he had already reached the realm of the small accomplishment of the killing intent. The killing intent's third realm of the large accomplishment was able to stimulate one's own killing intent to form a kind of killing power. This kind of killing power would not only put one in an advantageous position, but would also be able to suppress and bind the opponent. Ning Cheng heaved a sigh before he had comprehended the angry axe, the first trace. Moreover, when he blasted out with his axe, he had already reached the large accomplishment of the axe-type killing intent. The killing intent's fourth realm of the bright connection. Once one reached this realm, when one's killing intent arose, the killing power would be able to move freely and could be easily grasped. The killing intent's fifth realm of the small accomplishment, transforming mortal, was extremely vague. It could be said that for a cultivator in this realm, the killing intent would be omnipresent. Chapter 127. Ning Cheng did not find it strange. His meridians had already been remolded by the mysterious yellow origin, and he also had the opportunity to come to the Angry Axe Valley. As such, it was normal for his killing intent to reach the large success stage. Moreover, through his understanding of the killing intent, he could vaguely feel that once his killing intent reached the realm of transformation, then it would give birth to another kind of thing. As for what it was, he was still unable to understand it. Ning Cheng did not care about these realms. He had the mysterious yellow origin in his body. If he could not quickly comprehend the killing intent, then he would truly be a waste. Directly inserting the golden great axe onto his back, Ning Cheng once again stood up and walked towards the depths of the Angry Axe Valley. The traces of the axe charm in the Angry Axe Valley made Ning Cheng unable to stop his footsteps. When his comprehension and experience once again reached an extreme point, another splitting void axe shadow exploded in his mind. This time Ning Cheng was already prepared. He raised his hand and grabbed the golden great axe on his back, and chopped out with his axe. Angry axe, the first trace. This was the first axe trace killing intent that he had comprehended in the Angry Axe Valley. At the same time that he chopped out with his axe, he also sent out an axe trace in his mind. Boom! This invisible axe trace and the axe trace in Ning Cheng's mind collided with each other, causing Ning Cheng to directly fly out. Ning Cheng felt a sharp pain in his zifu. He immediately spouted out a few mouthfuls of blood, and once again flew out upside down. But this time Ning Cheng was not the same as before. He quickly jumped up, and once again chopped out with the great axe in his hands. This was the axe trace that had exploded in his mind a moment ago. The golden axe shadow that this axe brought out was no longer just a line in the sky, but under the golden axe shadow it formed a huge whirlpool, just like a tornado. The tornado-style axe-type killing intent completely gathered the killing force within a radius of several feet, condensing it into a single point, and then exploded on top of the cliff in the valley. Boom boom. An even more violent and terrifying explosion resounded. On top of that incomparably hard cliff, it formed a huge whirlpool. No, rather it was the great axe that had blasted out a huge crater. The shape of the stone pit was like a funnel, and the inside of it was cut by the axe-type killing intent like a smooth mirror. It did not have even half a single edge or corner. It was precisely the effect of the axe-type killing intent a moment ago. Ning Cheng stood with his great axe in his hand, as a heroic spirit surged in his chest. This great axe was even more imposing than the previous one. Moreover, it was condensed into a single point. Even if it was a cultivator in the essence-building realm, if they were to be hit by this great axe, it would be difficult for them to keep their life. This is my angry axe's second form, Whirlwind. Ning Cheng's voice reverberated throughout the huge axe valley. Ning Cheng's heart was filled with excitement and joy. He had only entered the angry axe valley for a short 10 days. And not only had he advanced to the true condensation 4th level, but he had also comprehended the real killing move. If he continued, what would his achievements be when he left the valley in the future? With an incomparably excited mood, Ning Cheng once again moved towards the valley. But this time he had only walked a dozen meters away, when an incomparably powerful suppressive force spread over, causing Ning Cheng to quickly stop. He was sure that if he dared to ignore this suppressive force, and continued to move forward, then he could be thrown out at any time. If he was thrown out of this place, then at most he would have to come back, but if he was thrown out of the Angry Axe Valley, then he might have to face the soul search of a powerhouse in the soul essence realm. Ning Cheng once again sat down. He wanted to adapt to this place first, and then continue to move forward. But after Ning Cheng sat down, he felt that the pressure was getting bigger and bigger. He subconsciously grabbed the ground, but what he felt was an icy coldness. Ning Cheng was surprised for a moment, then immediately grabbed a stone the size of a soccer ball. As his spiritual consciousness swept into the stone, he was immediately shocked. He casually grabbed it, and unexpectedly caught it in his hand was an exotic desolate extreme essence. Not only was it an exotic desolate extreme essence, but it was also dark silver in color. After so many years of hard work, Ning Cheng was not completely clueless about it. The exotic desolate extreme essence in his hand was a top-quality artifact crafting material, and was an extremely rare existence. Exotic desolate extreme essence was originally a meteorite in the starry sky. This kind of meteorite would fall on a certain planet, and would slowly form under a specific environment for a long time. This kind of exotic desolate extreme essence was divided into different colors. Khaki was a rank 8 artifact crafting material, dark silver was a rank 9 artifact crafting material, and silver was an artifact crafting material that surpassed rank 9. Artifact crafting material that surpassed rank 9. Ning Cheng had only seen it in some introductions. As for what use it had, he knew nothing about it. But the exotic desolate extreme essence in his hand was already dark silver in color. In other words, this was a rare rank 9 artifact crafting material, which was priceless. Ning Cheng once again searched around, and found 4 more pieces of exotic desolate extreme essence. He did not hesitate to put these treasures into his storage bag. Together with the one in his hand, he now had a total of 5 pieces of exotic desolate extreme essence. 2 of them were dark silver in color, 2 were khaki in color, and the last one was unexpectedly silver in color. Ning Cheng did not have the time to think about how these exotic desolate extreme essences came to this place, when an even more powerful force directly forced him out. He already knew that this was the axe charm aura of the Angry Axe Valley. Ning Cheng wanted to forcibly retreat some distance, to avoid being blown away by the axe charm of the Angry Axe Valley. But under this kind of power, Ning Cheng simply did not have any leeway to resist, as he was directly taken out of this place. When Ning Cheng sobered up, he found that he was standing on top of a low hill. This was definitely not the place that he had just entered. Ning Cheng looked around, and strangely found that there was no entrance to the valley in his line of sight. Ning Cheng closed his eyes, as the axe-type killing intent that he had comprehended in the Angry Axe Valley once again became clear to him. After the time it took for half an incense stick to burn, He finally opened his eyes. At this time he vaguely understood the meaning of the Angry Axe Valley. This was a valley that was truly split open by a great axe. This deep valley contained the axe-type killing intent, and all kinds of axe charm. But not all people could enter the real Axe Valley, only by feeling the axe-type killing intent. And after gaining an epiphany, could one unknowingly walk into the Angry Axe Valley. In other words, no one knew the real entrance to the Angry Axe Valley. Only the fated people could go in. But since he possessed the mysterious yellow origin, he was undoubtedly that fated person. That Lan Yuchen was also not simple, but unfortunately his strength was slightly weaker. After entering the Angry Axe Valley, he was not able to block the first axe-type killing intent. Ningqing looked around at the surrounding hills, and found that there were only a few rank 1 and 2 spiritual grasses. For these kinds of spiritual grasses, Ningqing was not interested in wasting his time. A sharp whistling sound attracted Ningqing's attention. As he swept out with his spiritual sense, he could see several figures rushing towards the source of the sharp whistling sound. There must be some good things here. Ningqing directly hung the golden axe on his back, and at the same time sped up towards the source of the sharp whistling sound. With his current strength, he could already compete for some of the good things here. Not all the good things could only be found by him. Once other people found something better, he was not the kind of person who would take the initiative to give up the good things to others. If he could compete for it, then he would not be lenient. When Ningqing arrived, there were already more than a dozen people here. A burst of light fragrance wafted over. These more than a dozen people were surrounding an ice lake that was emitting bursts of cold air. There were 9 pieces of blue mushroom-shaped things floating in the middle of the lake. Ningqing immediately recognized that this was the mysterious frost zoysia. The mysterious frost zoysia was a rank 5 spiritual grass, and could be used to refine the profound replenishment pill. This was a top-quality healing pill. Even if a soul essence realm expert was seriously injured, the profound replenishment pill would also have an excellent effect. As long as it was not a broken limb or a dismembered body, this kind of healing pill would allow a cultivator to heal their injuries in a very short time. Moreover, the mysterious frost zoysia also had a more important characteristic. That is, even if it was not refined into a profound replenishment pill, it would still have a very good curative effect. This point for more than 90% of the cultivators here was the most important point, because most of the people here did not know how to refine pills, including Ningqing. He also did not know how to refine pills. When Ningqing arrived, no one cared about it. There were already more than a dozen people here, so it would not be strange for there to be another one. Even if there were 10,000 people here, when it came to snatch the mysterious frost zoysia, only a few of them would be able to snatch it. Not to mention that this ice lake was extremely cold. Even if it was not cold, with such a long distance, if they were a bit slower, then they would not even be able to drink the soup. Ningqing looked at the people at the edge of the lake. There was only one essence-building cultivator, while the rest were all true condensation cultivators. His cultivation was not the lowest, nor was it the highest. This made Ningqing calm down in his heart. When they competed in speed in the ice lake, he would absolutely not be any worse than the others. He had the experience of the cold river, coupled with his rich and vigorous true essence. Although he only had the cultivation of true condensation realm, but his sea of consciousness had already formed, so why would he be afraid that he would not be able to snatch the mysterious frost zoysia? The mysterious frost zoysia had not yet matured. As such, the fragrance was still very faint, but after the mysterious frost zoysia matured, the fragrance would become even more intense. Ningqing squeezed himself in the crowd, as he closely stared at the mysterious frost zoysia in the middle of the lake. After the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, the mysterious frost zoysia completely unfolded, and at the same time a rich fragrance spread out. Ningqing almost immediately rushed out, but although Ningqing was fast, the others were also not slow. There was a strong resistance above the ice lake. As a result, several of the true condensation cultivators who were not vigilant fell into the ice lake. The ice-cold lake water immediately made the few true condensation cultivators who fell into the water unable to bear it. The few true condensation cultivators who fell into the water no longer cared about the mysterious frost zoysia, and hurriedly swam towards the shore. But then a few waves rolled up, and the few true condensation cultivators in a very short time disappeared into the ice lake, followed by a few splashes of blood, before they disappeared without a trace. Some of the cultivators who did not fall into the ice lake felt their scalps tingle, and hurriedly tried to forcibly increase their flying altitude. A dark shadow sprang out of the ice lake, and brought a cultivator who had already flown high enough into the lake, as a burst of blood splashed out from the lake once again. Some of the cultivators who were terrified even slowed down their speed. The speed at which they were fighting for the mysterious Frostzoisha was slow, but now that there were people who slowed down their speed, it made them even more hopeless. The importance of one's spiritual sense was fully reflected at this moment. The cultivators who had a strong spiritual sense or spiritual consciousness directly appeared at the forefront. As for those who had a weak spiritual sense, they could only fall behind. Ning Cheng's speed was second only to that essence-building cultivator, but was only a little bit slower than that essence-building cultivator. When that essence-building cultivator saw that Ning Cheng was unexpectedly this fast, he looked at Ning Cheng with a puzzled expression. It was only a distance of a few hundred meters, and simply did not take much time. That essence-building cultivator was the first to arrive. He had just stooped down to grab the mysterious Frostzoisha, when a splash of water rushed out from the ice lake. That essence-building cultivator was obviously prepared, as he raised his hand and brought out a long sword, and aimed it at the splash of water that rushed out. At this time, Ning Cheng had already arrived. Chapter 128. After Ning Cheng arrived, he did not act like the previous essence-building cultivator, and immediately went to snatch the mysterious Frostzoishas. He grabbed the golden axe on his back and swung it at the frozen lake. After he swung his axe down, he simultaneously followed behind to grab the mysterious Frostzoishas. Ew! An extremely muffled scream erupted from under Ning Cheng's great axe, followed by a huge splash, while at the same time a streak of blood quickly overflowed into the distance. At this time Ning Cheng had already grabbed 4 mysterious Frostzoishas, and simultaneously turned around and walked away. There were 9 stalks of mysterious Frostzoishas here. He was sure that he would not be able to snatch that many, for stalks would be enough. That essence-building cultivator immediately repelled the monstrous beast at the bottom of the water, and simultaneously picked up 2 mysterious Frostzoishas. The remaining 3 mysterious Frostzoishas were snatched away by the 3 true condensation 9th-level cultivators. With the 4 mysterious Frostzoishas, Ning Cheng landed on the shore with his fastest speed, while at the same time he was secretly rejoicing in his heart. When he swung his axe down, he didn't know where the monstrous beast was at. He just chose the most advantageous position for a sneak attack, and it turned out that his guess was right. Ning Cheng was just about to leave, when 3 true condensation cultivators blocked Ning Cheng's way. 2 were at true condensation 7th level, and 1 was at true condensation 9th level. Leave behind the mysterious Frostzoisha that you obtained, and then you can go. A short true condensation 7th level cultivator stared at Ning Cheng and spoke with contempt. Ning Cheng's mouth showed a hint of a sneer. He knew that he would not be able to walk away so easily. He had thought that the first person to look for him would be the early-stage essence-building cultivator, but he did not think that the essence-building cultivator would not come looking for him. Rather, it was the 2 true condensation cultivators who came looking for him. Not only did they want him to leave behind the mysterious Frostzoishas, but they also wanted him to leave behind all of them. Were you the one who planted my mysterious Frostzoishas? Ning Cheng spoke in a sarcastic tone. No, but you are just a trivial true condensation 4th level cultivator. And you want to take away 4 mysterious Frostzoishas by yourself. Don't you think that your table manners are too unsightly? That true condensation 7th level cultivator frowned. This was the angry Axe Valley. As such, Ning Cheng did not conceal his own cultivation. In this place, there were powerhouses talking. He could not wait to raise his own cultivation to a higher level, so why would he conceal his cultivation? With just a glance, the opposite party could see that he was at true condensation 4th level. As such, it was not surprising. What if I don't want to give it to you? Ning Cheng opened his hand, and the golden great axe appeared in his hand. The true condensation 9th level cultivator, who had not spoken, looked at the golden great axe in Ning Cheng's hands, and spoke in a light voice. Even this axe is filled with the stench of copper. It seems that you are very rich, ah. Presumably you have a lot of gold coins, to be able to forge this kind of axe. If this true condensation 9th level cultivator spoke with some scruples, then this true condensation 7th level cultivator was even more straightforward. Today you have to give it to me. Even if you do not want to give it to me, if you want to live for a few more hours, then hand over the mysterious frost Zoisha. Ningcheng was too lazy to speak any more nonsense, as the golden great axe in his hands immediately chopped out with a golden axe shadow. Angry axe, the first trace. He was just looking for someone to try out his first move on. Now that someone had presented themselves to him, he would not hesitate at all. Ningcheng had only chopped out a single axe shadow, but the surrounding people immediately felt as if the entire space around them had turned into a golden-colored axe shadow that filled the entire sky. A strong killing intent instantly swept away all the killing power in the surroundings. Some of the cultivators at the edge of the battlefield were so shocked that they retreated in succession. In the face of such a sky full of axe shadows, it gave the people a feeling that there was only a single axe trace. This axe trace seemed as if it came from the edge of the sky. No matter where you tried to hide, you would still be drawn into this axe shadow that filled the sky full of killing power. Even the essence-building cultivator who was standing on the side and watching the fight had a look of shock in his eyes. If this axe shadow was directed at him, then he would not know how to resist it. This kind of axe shadow that filled the sky was definitely an axe intent. Moreover, it was an axe intent that had reached the large success realm. A true condensation 4th level cultivator, who had already reached the large success realm of the axe intent. Just how terrifying was this? The true condensation 7th level cultivator, who bore the brunt of this attack, was even more horrified. It was not until this moment that he understood that he had provoked an existence that he should not have provoked. At this time it was already too late to beg for mercy. He could only hastily bring out his round shield. Unfortunately, the round shield had not yet been fully activated when it was directly struck by the golden-colored axe trace. Ka! An ear-piercing sound erupted. The round shield that had not been activated was directly split into two halves by Ningcheng's golden great axe trace, as a mist of blood sprayed out. This true condensation 7th level cultivator did not even have the strength to fight back, and was beheaded. The other two true condensation cultivators were struck by Ningcheng's axe shadow, and simultaneously flew out, as they spat out a few mouthfuls of blood in the air, as they fell to the ground. But they were only affected by the axe shadow, and were not seriously injured. They immediately jumped up again, as they stared at Ningcheng with incomparable horror. What kind of cultivation was this? How could there be someone with the cultivation of true condensation 4th level, who was so heaven-defying? Ningcheng directly hung the great axe on his back, as he coldly stared at the two people and said, "Get lost, don't let this young master see you again." The two true condensation cultivators did not dare to say even half a word, as they quickly turned around and walked away, and in a twinkling of an eye disappeared without a trace. Ningcheng picked up the storage bag on the ground, and used a ball of fire to burn the corpse of the true condensation cultivator that he had killed, and then slowly left. At this time, there was no one else following behind Ningcheng, as they scattered in all directions. Even that essence-building cultivator also changed his direction, and disappeared in a twinkling of an eye. Ningcheng was in a very good mood. The angry axe's first style was unexpectedly so terrifying. It was almost able to instantly kill a true condensation 7th level cultivator. Although Ningcheng knew that this was because that true condensation 7th level cultivator did not put him in his eyes, and was caught unprepared by him. But if they really fought, Ningcheng believed that he would be able to kill that true condensation 7th level cultivator in just a few seconds. Perhaps it was because there were too many cultivators that entered the Angry Axe Valley, but Ningcheng almost did not see any high-level spiritual grasses along the way. There were many good things inside the Angry Axe Valley. Ningcheng did not have even half a shred of doubt. He had only come in for a short period of time, but his harvest was already much more than what he had accumulated outside. Ningcheng was just thinking about whether he could bring out a flight-type magical weapon inside, when he heard a scream. This was definitely a high-decibel scream. If it was just a scream, then it would not have mattered, but Ningcheng also felt that this scream was somewhat familiar. He immediately swept out with his spiritual sense, and sure enough, a familiar face appeared in his spiritual sense. It turned out to be Ying. For Ying to enter the Angry Axe Valley, Ningcheng did not have even half a shred of doubt. At that time, if she did not enter the Angry Axe Valley, then it would have been a strange thing. That kind of surging tide of people, even if it was a true condensation cultivator, they would not be able to resist, let alone a trivial Ying. But at this time Ying no longer had that kind of quiet and charming appearance. Her hair was disheveled. Her face was covered in black ash. Even the color of her clothes could not be distinguished. But these things were not important. What was important was that her upper garment was directly torn off by a true condensation 6th level cultivator, exposing her white skin and a pink chest pocket. It seems that the reason why Ying screamed a moment ago was because her clothes were torn off. If Yu Yuanhua was here, he would definitely go all out against those two true condensation cultivators. Ningcheng turned around and quickly landed on the periphery, while he spoke in a sarcastic voice. A true condensation 6th level cultivator, bullying a little girl with the cultivation of Qi gathering realm. Do you still have any shame? You are big brother Ning. Ying called out in surprise. She even rubbed her eyes. She had actually met Ningcheng. She had seen Ningcheng's strength with her own eyes, and knew that he was absolutely powerful. After a while, she came to her senses, and quickly ran behind Ningcheng. Her panic-stricken expression finally calmed down a bit. Regardless of Ningcheng's character, Ningcheng was still a person that she knew. At least he was much better than this fiendish true condensation 6th level cultivator in front of her. A trivial true condensation 4th level ant. This true condensation 6th level cultivator had not even finished his words, when Ningcheng's golden great axe had already chopped towards him. When this true condensation 6th level cultivator saw the golden great axe shadow chopping towards him, the formidable axe-type killing intent immediately shook his mind. He simply did not have the ability to block Ningcheng's great axe. So strong. This true condensation 6th level cultivator did not even have enough time to retreat, as he spoke out those two words in despair, and then his body was split in half by the golden great axe. Ningcheng took back the golden great axe, as he felt that this great axe was even more useful. If he had used the broken spear, then perhaps he would have to spend a bit more effort. But now this angry axe's first trace was settled in one go. Big brother Ning, thank you. If not for you, Ying at this time felt extreme fear. She did not even dare to imagine what would happen if her clothes were torn apart. What would the result be? Ningcheng stared at Ying for a long time. When Ying suddenly remembered that the clothes on her chest had been torn apart, she immediately became anxious and fearful. Initially, when Ningcheng and Su Zhu were together, she had heard about it from Yonggu Yun. Moreover, she had also seen the scene at that time. Ningcheng even wanted to sleep with Su Zhu. Would he also want to? The more Ying thought about it, the more afraid she became. This was the same as driving the tiger from the front door and letting the wolf in from the back door. If he really wanted to do something to her, then other than dying, there was no other way for her. Ningcheng was so powerful that even if she died, she would not be able to die. That person a moment ago was obviously a true condensation expert, but in front of Ningcheng he was not even able to pass through a single move. She quickly pulled up the torn clothes on her chest, and looked up cautiously at Ningcheng, but saw that Ningcheng was frowning. Her hands trembled, and the clothes that she had pulled up once again fell down. The pink undergarment and half of her snow-white skin were once again exposed. Ying's whole body trembled slightly, but she did not dare to cry out loud. At this time Ningcheng spoke up. I really can't figure it out. Your hair is disheveled and your face is covered in dust. You look just like an old woman. Was that person a moment ago blind? Why did he want to tear off your clothes? Ningcheng really could not figure it out. Ying was very beautiful. She was not even the slightest bit inferior to Meng Yujing, this he admitted. But no matter how beautiful she was, Ying was still a green pepper. If a green pepper was clean, then it would look somewhat pleasing to the eye. But at this time Ying, even if she was an impatient person, she would not take off her clothes in this place, right? So he asked this sentence not to tease Ying, but to know why that true condensation 6th level cultivator would want to pull off Ying's clothes. Ying looked at Ning Cheng in surprise. She did not think that Ning Cheng, who had been staring at her for a long time, would unexpectedly say such a sentence. Chapter 129. After understanding Ning Cheng's words, Ying felt even more indignant. She knew that her appearance was not worse than anyone else's. After she started cultivating, her appearance became more and more refined and beautiful. But Ning Cheng actually said that with her appearance, no one would look at her? At this moment, Ying's face turned red. She had completely forgotten the fear that she had a moment ago. She just wanted to refute Ning Cheng, but she did not know how to refute Ning Cheng. She was just a young girl, and was extremely confident and satisfied with her appearance, and was also very concerned about it. But today, someone actually said that she looked like this, which made people not interested in her. Ning Cheng was too lazy to care about what Ying was thinking, as he threw a mirror towards Ying and said, "Look at yourself in the mirror, and then clean it up a bit." Ying took the mirror and looked at herself, and immediately screamed out loud. At this moment, where was she even half a shadow of her original self? She looked completely like a little beggar with disheveled hair. Oh, or it could be said that other than her torn chest pocket, there was nothing else that could attract people's desire. No wonder Ning Cheng said those words. "Big brother Ning." Ying no longer used her hands to cover her torn clothes, as she nervously rubbed her clothes and said. Ning Cheng waved his hand and said, "Why did that person tear your clothes? After your clothes are torn, you can still look at them. But before that, a true condensation 6th level cultivator would not be so bored, right?" Hearing the words "after her clothes are torn, you can still look at them," Ying became a bit nervous. She subconsciously pulled up her torn clothes again. But when she heard Ning Cheng's words, her face once again turned red. Couldn't this person speak a bit tactfully? No, Ying immediately remembered what she had done before, and immediately looked up and said, "Big brother Ning, I understand what is going on." Ning Cheng nodded and said, "Let me hear it." He believed that there was definitely a reason. If there was no reason, then that true condensation cultivator from before was just too anxious. Or rather, that true condensation cultivator's vision was too good. Even with Ying's appearance, he could still see that Ying was a beauty. It must be this. Ying quickly put her hand into her chest pocket and pulled out a ring. The originally somewhat tempting scene was immediately diverted by the ring. Ning Cheng reached out and grabbed the ring. The ring still had a trace of the girl's fragrance and warmth. Ning Cheng did not care about the little green pepper like Ying, as he swept his spiritual sense into the ring, and was immediately moved. It turned out to be a storage ring. Not only did it contain some upper-grade spirit stones, there were also many jade slips, elixirs, magic weapons and so on. As soon as Ying took out the ring, she immediately felt a little lost. Once she took out this ring, she would definitely not be able to get it back. If this ring remained in her hands, she would definitely be able to advance to a higher level. At this time, seeing Ning Cheng paying attention to the ring, she added a sentence. "When I obtained this ring, I had been wearing it on my hand. Later, when I left the cave, I wanted to find something to eat. But then I remembered that this ring cannot be worn on the finger. So I took it off and put it on my chest. I didn't expect this person to see it." Ning Cheng handed the ring back to Ying and said, "You can put this ring back where you put it. It really is not appropriate to wear it on your hand." Ying quickly waved her hand and said, "No, I don't want it, Big Brother Ning. You saved my life. I will give this ring to Big Brother Ning." Thinking about it, she felt that the reason was not enough and explained, "My cultivation is too low, so this ring is useless to me." Ning Cheng faintly smiled and said, "Everyone wants good things, but I only want things that belong to me, or are fated to get them. You can put it away. I don't need your ring." Not to mention that Ning Cheng saw Ruolan's shadow in Ying. Even if it was an unrelated person, as long as they did not offend him or annoy him, Ning Cheng would not try to snatch their things. What's more, Ning Cheng also appreciated this pair of brother and sister. A ring for many true condensation cultivators. At that time it was a luxury. They would even risk their lives to obtain it. But for Ning Cheng, he was not in such an urgent mood. He came from Earth, and was not used to robbing others. He had his own moral bottom line. "Big Brother Ning, Ying held the ring in her hand. As she looked at Ning Cheng with a puzzled expression, she did not know whether what Ning Cheng said was true or false. You can put away your ring, I'm leaving. Ning Cheng spoke, as his spiritual sense swept out towards the cave not far away. There were traces of a broken concealment restriction outside the cave. Presumably the concealment restriction of the cave was broken, and Ying just happened to come across it. Ying hesitated for a moment, and then hesitantly said, Big brother Ning, if you have something to say then just say it, don't hesitate. When you and I were competing for the pearl hair clip, you were very good at talking. Ning Cheng smiled. Ying's face turned slightly red, but this time she did not hesitate and said, Big brother Ning, I want to follow behind you until the Angry Axe Valley opens. Ning Cheng slightly frowned. Bringing along a burden was not a good thing. If there were only true condensation cultivators here, then it would have been fine, but this time, in addition to the true condensation cultivators, there were also essence-building cultivators. He did not refuse. He really did not have the heart to refuse. Once he refused, then Ying would be alone in the Angry Axe Valley. It would definitely be a dead end. For her to be able to live until today, it was already a very difficult thing. Big brother Ning, I promise that I will not drag you down. As long as the Angry Axe Valley opens, I will be able to go to the 7-Star Academy. Ying eagerly explained. When Ning Cheng heard Ying say that she would be able to go to the 7-Star Academy after coming out, he couldn't help but sneer in his heart. Well, you can first change your clothes, and then follow behind me. When we come across the pool, you can wash yourself. Ning Cheng finally agreed to Ying's request. When Ying heard Ning Cheng agree, she quickly agreed, and directly took a few steps back, and in a place where she could see Ning Cheng, she quickly took off her clothes. She was really afraid that Ning Cheng would turn around and walk away, and then she would have to hide in the cave alone. After a moment, Ying changed her clothes, and tidied up her hair, although she still looked a bit embarrassed, but it was much better than before. Let's go. Ning Cheng brought out his own airship, and said to Ying. Ying boarded the airship, and said in a somewhat surprised voice, Big brother Ning, do you still have a flight-type magical weapon? Ning Cheng had just taken control of the airship in the air, and had not even had the time to fly at full speed, when a lightning-fast shadow directly rushed over. Ning Cheng, at this time, did not even bother to answer Ying's words. At the same time he punched out, he also tightly hugged Ying with his other hand. Boom! The shadow's formidable power directly collided with Ning Cheng's fist. The formidable power collided with Ning Cheng's fist, and immediately threw Ning Cheng out of the airship. Ning Cheng quickly circulated his true essence, and cast the Imperial Wind technique in the air, and glided down. When the shadow rushed over, Ying was simply not able to react. She felt that she was suddenly hugged by Ning Cheng, and was immediately surprised in her heart. However, she did not struggle. She knew that in the face of Ning Cheng's strength, even if she struggled, it would be useless. A moment later, she knew what the reason was. A shadow came over, and threw Ning Cheng out of the airship. Even the airship's artifact was blown away. If not for Ning Cheng protecting her, she might have fallen to her death. Ying quickly hugged Ning Cheng. Her heart was thumping wildly. She was not shy, but was worried that Ning Cheng would suddenly fall to the ground. Fortunately, Ning Cheng did not let her down, and using the Imperial Wind technique, he slowly landed on the ground. What a beast! It even took away my airship. When Ning Cheng landed on the ground, he found that his airship did not come down. At this time he finally understood that one could not casually fly in this place. Feeling a strong softness, Ning Cheng bowed his head and said, Ying, you can let go. Ah! Ying quickly let go of her hand, and said with some embarrassment, I'm sorry, big brother Ning. Ning Cheng smiled and said, There is nothing to be sorry about. Of course I had to bring you down. Before I did not know that one could not fly in this place. If I had known earlier, I would not have flown. Ying became even more embarrassed and said, No, big brother Ning. I am sorry because I thought that you suddenly hugged me too. Ning Cheng suddenly thought of Suju's matter. Ying thought that way. It was definitely because of the influence of Suju's matter. He glanced at Ying. This time he was too lazy to explain. Ying was a very simple girl. When Ning Cheng saw Ying for the first time, He knew that although she looked a lot smarter than an E, but the simplicity in her bones could not be changed. It was because she was influenced by people like Lu Shui and Yong Guyun that she was like this. Seeing that Ning Cheng just glanced at her and was too lazy to explain, Ying became even more terrified in her heart. She was afraid that Ning Cheng would get angry and dump her. Thinking till here, she quickly said, "Big brother Ning should like Su Zhu, that kind of senior apprentice sister. I was just thinking too much." It would have been better if Ying did not explain, but after explaining, she found that what she said was even more wrong. Fortunately, at this time Ning Cheng opened his mouth. "Ying, sometimes you have to maintain your own view of people and things. If there are people who are trying to influence your view, you can go and determine it yourself. The people around you are not saints. They are just some ordinary people who live for their own interests. Who is Su Zhu, I do not know. But I know that she is much better than Yong Guyun. At least she is not hypocritical. If you live every day with other people's views, without your own judgment, you will be very tired. Compared to your elder brother, you really are more shrewd, or perhaps you are more sophisticated. But what I want to tell you is, it is easier for your elder brother to make intimate friends, but the people around you are actually more hypocritical." Ying stared at Ning Cheng. She suddenly had a feeling that Ning Cheng was not the kind of person that senior apprentice sister Yong Guyun had described him to be. Rather, he was much closer to what her elder brother had described him to be. Chapter 130. Let's go, we can only walk now. This time there are too many people entering the Angry Axe Valley. Although the Angry Axe Valley is big, but it would be better to go to a place that others have not been to before. If you follow behind the buttocks of others, you would not even have a chance to eat soup. Ning Cheng was not interested in talking about this topic with Ying. As he spoke, his footsteps accelerated a lot. Ying, on seeing this, quickly sped up her pace to follow behind Ning Cheng. She did not dare to fall behind alone. No one had entered the Angry Axe Valley for thousands of years, and everywhere was either a wilderness or a rocky area. There were also some verdant mountain ranges or rivers and lakes, but there was not a single clear path. This time there were too many people entering the Angry Axe Valley, and in some places there were already some faint traces of a path. Ning Cheng walked with Ying for nearly a day, but he did not even find a single rank 2 spiritual grass. I guess that the people who came here before have already taken all the things. Ying timidly looked at Ning Cheng and said. Ning Cheng stopped. He could feel a very faint origin aura. It was faintly discernible. The reason why he could think of an origin was because this origin aura and the mysterious yellow bead's origin aura had something in common, which made his heart feel it. Ning Cheng did not understand the meaning of an origin, but because the mysterious yellow bead's mysterious yellow origin allowed him to reshape his meridians, he could vaguely feel that as long as it was an origin, it would be a great thing. Boom. A violent explosion came from afar. Ning Cheng quickly swept out with his spiritual sense. Maybe it was because it was too far away, but his spiritual sense could not sweep anything for a while. But after a while, his spiritual sense was aware of a trace of rich spiritual qi. Another good thing came out. This was Ning Cheng's first thought. Otherwise it would be impossible to have such a rich spiritual qi. He withdrew his spiritual sense, and his heart was tangled. There were too many good things in the Angry Axe Valley. Should he follow the origin aura to look for it? Or should he go to the place with the explosion of spiritual qi? Big brother Ning, I feel that we should go in that direction. There are even better things. Ying carefully said, while pointing her hand in the opposite direction of the explosion. She was worried that Ning Cheng would think that she was afraid, so she hesitated for a while before speaking. The direction that Ying was pointing at was the direction that Ning Cheng sensed a trace of origin. Ning Cheng stared at Ying in amazement, thinking in his heart, did Ying also have an origin? Otherwise, how could she sense the direction of the source? Thinking back to the tournament of the 5-star academies in the Moze city, Ying had taken the first place in 2 consecutive rounds of the tournament. Moreover, she had shown a strong memory and comprehension ability, which made Ning Cheng even more suspicious. Ning Cheng really wanted to grab Ying's wrist, and then use his own spiritual sense to carefully examine her from inside out. But in the end, he was still able to restrain himself from having this kind of nonsensical idea. This kind of idea was really too terrible for Ying. This was simply equivalent to letting Ying strip naked and letting him touch her body with his hands. Big brother Ning, I just have a feeling, just like before when I felt that the cave was a place to hide. In fact, I don't know if it's right or wrong. If you change the direction, then you don't have to worry about my thoughts. Ying was scared in her heart by Ning Cheng's stare, as she stammered out her own thoughts. Ying, do you know what an origin is? Ning Cheng thought about it for a moment, but still asked about it. He had fought hard on Earth, and as such was much more mature than Ying. Ying's mind was flexible, but when it came to dealing with people, she was definitely not as good as him. If Ying really had an origin in her body, then he would have to remind her as soon as possible. Otherwise she would not even know how she died. This time, that cultivator surnamed Kong had brought her to the Jia continent, was a good example. Ying shook her head blankly. I don't know. Ning Cheng gave an end sound but did not continue to ask, and just said, we will first go in the direction that you mentioned. For Ning Cheng, the origin aura was countless times more precious. Weighing the two things, Ning Cheng decided to first take a look at the vague origin aura that was emitting from it. Since Ying could feel it, then who could guarantee that other people would not be able to feel it? Ning Cheng and Ying, the two people, changed their direction and sped up. After another hour, Ning Cheng could feel that the vague origin aura was becoming more and more frequent. He once again asked Ying, do you still feel it? Ying shook her head. No, I just feel that it should be nearby, but as for the specific location, I do not know. Ning Cheng nodded. He also did not know where it was, he only knew that it was nearby. But even after he and Ying searched for nearly an hour, they still did not find anything. Ying thought that Ning Cheng had come here because of her proposal. But now that Ning Cheng had not found it after such a long time, she spoke with some uneasiness in her heart. Big brother Ning, I might have sensed it wrong. Let's continue looking. If we still can't find it, then we will go to the place where the explosion occurred. There should be some good things there. Ning Cheng replied absent-mindedly. His spiritual sense had completely covered the entire area. He did not even miss a small area. After half an hour passed by, Ning Cheng suddenly stopped. He stared at a long river not far away. He had already determined in his heart that the origin aura was coming from this river. He did not know where this river led to, he simply could not see the end, but it was very narrow. The narrowest part of the river was only about 5 to 6 meters. Ying had actually noticed this river a long time ago. But the reason why she noticed this river was not because she felt that there was something good in the river, but because she wanted to enter the river to wash herself. Now that she was together with Ning Cheng, but she still ended up like this, it really made her feel a bit awkward in her heart. I want to enter the river to investigate. You lie on my back, I'll carry you down. After Ning Cheng determined, he immediately spoke to Ying. No, big brother Ning, I can follow behind you. Ying quickly spoke. She was not a fool. Once she lay on Ning Cheng's back, after entering the river, her clothes would stick to her body. It would be the same as letting Ning Cheng take advantage of her. No, if you want to come with me then don't talk nonsense, hurry up. Ning Cheng did not have the time to explain to Ying. When he had snatched the mysterious ice Zoisha from the ice lake, he was already clear that the monstrous beasts in the water of the Angry Axe Valley were not any less than the monstrous beasts outside. Oh. Ying did not dare to continue to refute, and obediently lay on Ning Cheng's back. Even if she had not experienced such a thing, but after Ning Cheng fastened her to his back, she could feel her face burning hot. The aura coming from Ning Cheng's body made her feel somewhat soft. When she was a child, her big brother had also carried her on his back, but she had never felt this kind of feeling before. Although Ning Cheng could feel 2 soft lumps on his back, but he did not care about it. Ji Luofei's chest was much more plump than Ying's. He had carried Ji Luofei on his back for a long time, and was able to endure it. After fastening Ying on his back, Ning Cheng immediately rushed into the river. The river here was not as cold as the ice lake, but Ning Cheng could still feel a chill invading his bone marrow. While he stimulated his true essence, he quickly swam towards the bottom of the river. Ying's cultivation was worse than Ning Cheng's, so she could feel the invasion of the chill. She subconsciously revolved her true essence to resist it, but Ning Cheng's back was emitting a burst of heat, completely dispersing the chill from her body. So Big Brother Ning was carrying me on his back because of this. Ewing felt ashamed of her own thoughts. She did not know that Ning Cheng did not mean to carry her on his back. Ning Cheng was worried that there were monstrous beasts in the river. If it was only this kind of cold, he would not care about it. This kind of cold, Ewing was a chi-gathering 6th level cultivator. She could still resist it. Ning Cheng shuttled through the river for the time it took for an incense stick to burn, but did not encounter any monstrous beasts. Ning Cheng knew that he might have thought too much. This river was ordinary, and did not have any rich spiritual chi. How could there be monstrous beasts here? That ice lake could grow the mysterious frost zoysia. It was obvious that the spiritual chi was very rich. It was normal for there to be monstrous beasts in such a place. However, since he had already carried Yu Ying on his back, Ning Cheng did not intend to put her down. Yu Ying's speed was too slow. It would be faster for him to carry her on his back. After the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, Ning Cheng stopped in front of a large reef forest. His spiritual sense swept towards the reef forest. He could vaguely see a concealment array formation. This array formation was very strange. If it was a natural array formation, then it was surrounded by a lot of reef array flags. If it was not a natural array formation, then these reef array flags really did not look like they were artificially refined. This array formation was a rank 4 array formation. Ning Cheng was not able to arrange it. The reason why he could see that this was a concealment array formation was because this concealment array formation was somewhat broken. If this array formation was not broken, Ning Cheng suspected that this array formation might even have exceeded rank 7. If it really was a rank 7 array formation, then he would not even be able to see it. Ning Cheng entered the concealment array formation from the broken place, and unexpectedly found a white jade road paved with jade. Seeing this white jade road, Ning Cheng knew that the array formation from before was definitely artificially arranged. A person who was able to arrange an array formation that was similar to a natural array formation. Just how powerful was his array formation? Ning Cheng took out an array flag and turned around to block the broken gap. Although his array formation level was low, but with such a low-level array flag blocking the broken place, this array formation could barely be upgraded to a rank 5 array formation. Knowing that there was no danger in this place, Ning Cheng put Yu Ying down, and at the same time sent a sound transmission to her. You carefully follow behind me. I estimate that there are some good things inside. Even if Ning Cheng did not say it, Yu Ying would not walk around without permission. Ning Cheng and Yu Ying walked along this white jade road for nearly 100 meters, when they suddenly felt their whole body become light. The two of them were surprised to find that the surrounding water was completely separated. In front of them, there was a huge water-avoiding pearl suspended in the air. This water was directly separated by the water-avoiding pearl in conjunction with the surrounding array formation. Under the water-avoiding pearl, there was a half-moon-shaped arch door. Above the arch door were two large characters Han Xiang. Chapter 131. Ning Cheng did not feel even half a shred of danger, but he could clearly feel that the origin chi was coming from the crescent-shaped door in front of him. As such, he almost did not hesitate to walk into the crescent-shaped door. After entering the door, they saw that it was not a very big hall. In the front of the hall there was a jade table, and on the jade table there was only a single chair. On the right side of the hall, there was a side door. Ning Cheng and Yu Ying walked through the side door and found a very elegantly decorated room. The inside of the room was set up with an array formation. Moreover, it was at the bottom of the water. As such, there was not even a single speck of dust. A wooden bed was placed in one corner of the room, and on the side of the wooden bed, there was a small dressing table. On the dressing table there was only a mirror and a comb. Other than that, there was nothing else. The room was very cold. It was obvious that no one had come here for a long time. Big Brother Ning, this is the bottom of the Angry Axe Valley. How can there be a woman's boudoir? Yu Ying, who was following behind Ning Cheng, asked in a strange voice. I guess that when the Angry Axe Valley had just appeared, a woman came here, but then I don't know why she did not go out and stayed here. Ning Cheng replied he was also guessing. He was more familiar with the Angry Axe Valley than Yu Ying, but he did not know where the owner of this place went. After Ning Cheng replied to Yu Ying's question, he directly put away the mirror on the dressing table. He had already sensed that the origin energy had come from this mirror. Yu Ying also had a kind of intuition that this mirror was good. If Ning Cheng had not taken it away, then she would have definitely taken it away. But she did not think that Ning Cheng, a man, would actually want a mirror. She did not know if he wanted to give it to the woman who was with him in the Moze city. After Ning Cheng put away the mirror, he could no longer feel the origin chi in the room. This made his heart calm down, and at the same time determined that this mirror was the thing that he was looking for. After putting away the mirror, Ning Cheng once again looked around, but did not find anything worthy of his attention. He looked back at Yu Ying and said, "Do you want to change your clothes?" Yu Ying at this time discovered that all of her clothes were sticking to her body, and there were 2 bulging lumps on her chest, which were extremely conspicuous. Her thin clothes completely revealed her slender thighs. This kind of image appeared in front of Ning Cheng, causing her to subconsciously give out an ah sound. "Big brother Ning, you can go out first, I will change my clothes here." Ning Cheng slightly hesitated before he spoke. "Yu Ying, you also have some high-grade spirit stones in your ring. I suggest that you temporarily cultivate here." Hearing Ning Cheng's words, Yu Ying no longer cared about changing her clothes, as she nervously stared at Ning Cheng and said, "Big brother Ning, do you really want to leave me here alone?" Ning Cheng smiled and spoke. "No, your cultivation is too low. I'm going to grab something. When we came here before, I sensed something good in the area where the explosion came from. I don't know if I can make it now, but I still want to go and have a look. Once I get the item, I want to cultivate here as well." When Yu Ying heard Ning Cheng's words, her eyes immediately turned gloomy, although she really did not want to stay here alone, but following behind Ning Cheng would really be a burden. "Well, that's good. Big brother Ning, when you get the item, you must remember to take me with you. I'm a bit scared to stay here alone." Yu Ying was at the Qi Gathering 6th level, but it still could not change the fact that she was a teenage girl. Ning Cheng affirmed, "You can rest assured, I'll be back soon." Coming to the Angry Axe Valley was to look for spiritual grasses and materials. Ning Cheng had only been in the Angry Axe Valley for a few days. How could he hide in this place? Moreover, he still had to deal with things that would happen in a few months. He still had not thought of a way to get out of this place. Saying that, Ning Cheng took out an array flag and handed it to Yu Ying. "This array flag is a response array flag that I just threw down. You can go out from here. In case something happens to me, you won't have to be locked up in here." Although Ning Cheng was confident that nothing would happen to him, but in case something happened in the Angry Axe Valley, who could be sure? "Big brother Ning, can you not go out?" After Yu Ying heard Ning Cheng's words, she immediately spoke with some worry, but she knew that her words were equivalent to nonsense. It was impossible for Ning Cheng not to go out. Ning Cheng quickly left the bottom of the river, and once again returned to the surface. He obviously could not listen to Yu Ying's words and stay inside, not to mention that Ji Luofei was still waiting for him. Even that old man surnamed Kong was like a knife pressing down on his head, making him not dare to relax. If it was Luofei or Ruolan who asked him to stay, then perhaps he would have stayed. However, Luofei and Ruolan would definitely not ask him to stay, as they both understood his thoughts. Thinking until here, Ning Cheng was suddenly startled in his heart. It seemed that he had not thought of Tian Mu Wan for a long time. Or rather, since he had established his relationship with Luofei, he rarely thought of Tian Mu Wan. Did he forget about her? Ning Cheng shook his head and sped up his speed. Without Yu Ying dragging him down, Ning Cheng's speed had increased by several times. In just 2 hours, Ning Cheng had already arrived at the place where the explosion had occurred. There were already thousands of people here, and there was still a steady stream of people coming in. Ning Cheng's arrival was not abrupt. As such, no one paid any attention to him, as all the people were digging holes everywhere. That's right, they were digging holes. The surroundings had already been dug to the point of being unrecognizable, but the sounds of explosions were still sounding out continuously. These were caused by some of the cultivators using explosion talismans. A rich spiritual chi was coming out from some of the holes that had been dug out. As Ning Cheng swept out with his spiritual sense, he immediately understood what was going on. This place turned out to be a huge spirit stone mine. Moreover, the grade of it was not low. Ning Cheng could see many cultivators putting away large amounts of medium-grade spirit stones, and even high-grade spirit stones into their storage bags. In some of the higher-grade spirit stones in the mine, many of the cultivators were already fighting each other. Almost every moment there were cultivators who were seriously injured and trying to escape, while there were also cultivators who were killed because they were fighting for the spirit stones. In this place, at this time, almost all the people were going crazy, desperately trying to compete for the spirit stone mine. Ning Cheng swept out, but did not find anyone from the Hua continent. It seems that he could only work alone. Who did not want spirit stones? One of the most important resources for a cultivator's cultivation was spirit stones. Best quality spirit stone. A crazy voice sounded out, as Ning Cheng's gaze also fell in that direction. An early-stage essence-building cultivator was holding a spirit stone that was exuding a soft milky white luster. This spiritual qi was something that Ning Cheng's spiritual sense could not help but feel extremely comfortable. Was this a best-quality spirit stone? If one used a best-quality spirit stone for cultivation, then, Ning Cheng did not dare to imagine it, but he also did not have to imagine it, as the terrible scene that erupted in front of him made him speechless. That essence-building cultivator did not think that he would be able to dig out a best-quality spirit stone, but before he could even put the spirit stone into his storage bag, countless cultivators had already swarmed towards it. All of the people seemed to have lost control of their reason, as all of them were scrambling for that best-quality spirit stone. Ning Cheng subconsciously retreated a few hundred meters away. This kind of terrible fight, if he was the one facing it, then even if he wanted to escape, it would be very difficult for him to escape. Blood sprayed everywhere, the lights of the magical techniques wreaked havoc. This was simply too crazy. As for the essence-building cultivator who had obtained the best-quality spirit stone, he had already been submerged in the countless people scrambling for it. Ning Cheng was walking on one side. He wanted to try and see if he could also sense the presence of a spirit stone mine. However, Ning Cheng had already changed several places, but he was not able to sense any kind of mine. It seems that his mysterious yellow origin could only resonate with the origin aura. As for spirit stones or spiritual grasses and the like, it did not have any special intuition. At this time, the fight for the best quality spirit stone had already ended, and no one knew who had snatched away the best quality spirit stone. Many of the cultivators once again began to look for their own mine. Ning Cheng, in a slightly more remote place, found a location. He did not choose this place for no reason at all. It was because the vegetation in the vicinity was denser, and seemed to be growing better. Ning Cheng's idea was very simple. In a place with a spirit stone mine, the growth of plants or spiritual grasses would certainly be better. Even if he found the wrong place, it would not have much of an impact on him. This place was a mine. Even if he casually looked for a place, perhaps he would be able to dig out a spirit stone. It was just that the quality of the spirit stone was somewhat high and low. There were simply too many people digging in the mine, so it was not unusual for Ning Cheng to dig in the mine. But what was unusual was that he was digging by himself. Seeing Ning Cheng digging by himself, many of the people secretly ridiculed Ning Cheng as an idiot. Who would dare to dig a mine in this place? After a few hours, Ning Cheng could feel that the spiritual qi in the mine was getting denser and denser, so he increased his speed. Sure enough, after the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, Ning Cheng dug out a few spirit stones, although they were only low-grade spirit stones, but for Ning Cheng, it was already very good. Thinking back to when he had just arrived at the Zhongqing province, Ji Luofei had to go all out just to obtain a qi gathering stone. But now that he was unexpectedly able to dig out a few spirit stones by himself, what else could he not be satisfied with? Ning Cheng believed that as long as he continued to dig, perhaps he would be able to find some medium-grade spirit stones. Ning Cheng's idea was good, but in this place, only having an idea was obviously not enough. The people who dug in here were in groups of 3 to 5. Even if that was the case, it would still lead to a fight, not to mention that Ning Cheng was the only one mining here. Before Ning Cheng did not dig out anything, naturally no one would come to find trouble with him. But now that Ning Cheng had dug out a few spirit stones, people immediately came over. This time, 6 people came over. All of them were late-stage true condensation cultivators. The worst among them was at true condensation 7th level. The essence-building cultivators here had already found their own mine. As such, there were no other essence-building cultivators who came to snatch Ning Cheng's territory. Take the spirit stones that you have dug out and leave. We will take over from here. The one leading them was a true condensation 9th level cultivator. As he glanced at the mine that Ning Cheng had dug out, his eyes flashed with a trace of joy, but his mouth spoke as if nothing had happened. With his experience, he knew that this mine that Ning Cheng had dug out definitely had some good things. Chapter 132. Are you sure? Ning Cheng stopped digging, as he stared back at these people and asked. After he had seen the situation here, he already had this kind of awareness. Even if he did not want to fight, and just peacefully mine in this place, it was absolutely impossible. Fuck off. One of the true condensation 8th level cultivators impatiently shouted out. Ning Cheng was too lazy to speak any more nonsense. As he brought out the great axe in his hands, and simultaneously swept it out horizontally, an incomparably fierce axe intent raged through the mine that he had dug. The mine's range was limited. As Ning Cheng's great axe chopped out with a strong killing intent, almost all the killing force in the surroundings of the mine was gathered towards him. The 6 late-stage true condensation cultivators did not think that Ning Cheng, who was only a true condensation 4th level cultivator, would dare to take the initiative to attack. If it was just an ordinary true condensation 4th level cultivator, and Ning Cheng took the initiative to attack, they would have already brought out their magic weapons and smashed Ning Cheng into pieces. But Ning Cheng was not an ordinary true condensation 4th level cultivator. As soon as the angry axe, the first trace, came out, the axe intent was extremely strong, so the first reaction of the 6 true condensation cultivators was to quickly avoid the sharp edge of the axe, and then think of something else. Boom! The axe shadow, with its strong axe intent, cut through the incomparably hard mine, bringing out 2 bloody mists. The 2 true condensation 7th level cultivators simply did not have enough time to avoid it, as they were bound by the killing intent of Ning Cheng's axe, and were simultaneously split into 2 halves. The rustling gravel that fell from the sky was completely crushed by the axe shadow's killing intent. As Ning Cheng was worried that the mine would collapse, and did not dare to use his full strength, the remaining 4 true condensation cultivators, because of these 2 people blocking them, were able to escape from the mine a step earlier. But Ning Cheng did not give up. He also escaped from the mine, and chased after the few late-stage true condensation cultivators, and once again chopped out with his axe. The axe intent that was filled with killing intent did not weaken even a little bit because it came out from the mine. On the contrary, because Ning Cheng used his full strength to cast the angry axe, the first trace, the killing force swept out even more violently. One of the true condensation 8th level cultivators who had fallen behind only had enough time to bring out his own cone-shaped magical weapon to block a part of the axe shadow of Ning Cheng's axe shadow, before he was hit in the chest by the even more powerful killing intent of the axe trace, causing him to immediately spurt out a mouthful of blood, as he was sent flying upside down, crashing into a huge stone, as if he would not be able to live for long. The remaining 3 people were horrified, and no longer dared to escape, as they brought out their magical weapons to confront Ning Cheng. It was only then that everyone understood what had happened. It was very common for people to snatch the spirit stones that were dug out from the mine. Ning Cheng dared to dig the mine by himself, which was already seen by many people. It was just that these people who saw Ning Cheng digging the mine, all of them ridiculed Ning Cheng as an idiot in their hearts. But now that 6 late-stage true condensation cultivators had come to rob Ning Cheng's mine, not only did Ning Cheng kill 3 of them, they were even driven out of the mine, which immediately attracted the attention of all the people. Where did this true condensation cultivator come from? He was just a trivial true condensation 4th level cultivator. How could he be so fierce and powerful? Friend, we were in the wrong just now. We won't fight for this mine anymore. Let's stop here. The one who spoke was the same true condensation 9th level cultivator, who wanted Ning Cheng to give up the mine. After he saw Ning Cheng's strength, he no longer had any thoughts of snatching Ning Cheng's mine. What's more, the 6 of them were a temporary group. who would care about the life and death of their companions. If they really fought, they would be like a plate of loose sand, each minding their own business. Want to come, want to go. How could there be such a good thing in the world? Ning Cheng was too lazy to even answer a single word. The great axe in his hands once again filled the sky with golden axe shadows. It was still the same axe, it was still the same trace. At this time, Ning Cheng was getting more and more comfortable with using the angry axe, the first trace. He felt that if he continued to use the angry axe, the first trace, he would have a new breakthrough in his comprehension. When this true condensation 9th level cultivator saw that Ning Cheng did not have even half a shred of intention to reconcile with him, and did not even say a single word, he once again started. His complexion suddenly changed, as he threw out the white steel ring in his hands, and simultaneously shouted, "Everyone, let's do it together." The other two people saw that Ning Cheng did not have any intention to stop. They simply did not need this true condensation 9th level cultivator to remind them, and had already brought out their respective magical weapons. As the four true condensation cultivators fought, the surrounding killing weapons and magical weapons splashed in all directions. Many of the cultivators did not even bother to dig the ores, and immediately moved out of the way, while simultaneously watching the battle between these four people. There were even a few essence-building realm cultivators who were paying close attention to this battle. The killing intent of the golden axe shadows filled the sky as they collided with the various magical weapons, causing the surrounding area to explode with true essence. Ka. Although the three late-stage true condensation cultivators were able to block Ning Cheng's axe, but the formidable axe-type killing intent once again forced the three of them to retreat. This person's true essence is very vigorous. Is this the cultivation of true condensation 4th level? A purple-robed woman with a veil covering her face was standing in the distance watching the battle, while simultaneously looking at the place where the golden axe shadows intersected, and spoke in a shocked voice. Standing next to her was a middle-aged man, who already had the cultivation of late-stage essence-building realm. When he heard the purple-robed woman's words, he shook his head and said, "No, his true essence is not necessarily stronger than those three people joining hands. But his axe intent is simply too strong. This kind of axe-type killing intent that crisscrossed the sky is something that those three people were simply unable to resist, and were blasted away. This person's axe intent is so strong, I suspect that he has already comprehended the axe intent in the real Axe Valley." Ning Cheng did not stop his attack just because his axe shadow did not have any effect. The killing intent of the golden axe shadows that filled the sky had not completely dissipated, as the great axe in his hands once again drew a golden axe trace in the air. This time the true condensation 9th level cultivator bore the brunt of the attack, and was directly bombarded by the golden axe shadow. His white steel ring, under the impact of the axe trace, gave out a buzzing sound. At this moment he was simply unable to take back his magical weapon. This true condensation 9th level cultivator's mind was greatly shaken. He was sure that even if the three of them joined hands, if they were not of one mind, they would not necessarily be a match for this true condensation 4th level cultivator in front of him. This person was simply too fierce, so he immediately turned around and fled. Ning Cheng's great axe was already somewhat insufficient. If the three of them once again joined hands, then he could only advance step by step, and first block them. But now this true condensation 9th level cultivator unexpectedly turned around and fled. It really was courting death. Ning Cheng did not care about the other two people, and directly rushed forward, and blasted out a punch in the air. The axe fist turned into a fist line, and with a murderous aura, it directly bombarded the back of the true condensation 9th level cultivator. This true condensation 9th level cultivator was directly blown away by Ning Cheng's punch. He flew a few dozen meters away, before he finally fell to the ground, and twitched a few times, before he no longer made any sound. Ning Cheng did not deal with the corpse of this true condensation 9th level cultivator. Rather he grabbed the golden great axe and rushed towards the other two true condensation 8th level cultivators. These two true condensation 8th level cultivators were already terrified. How could they still dare to fight against Ning Cheng? As they directly threw out their storage bags, and spoke in a trembling voice, Senior, these are our storage bags, we beg for mercy. Ning Cheng grabbed the 2 storage bags and coldly snorted, get lost. Yes, yes. These 2 true condensation 8th level cultivators did not dare to speak any more nonsense, as they quickly turned around and fled, and in an instant disappeared from this place without a trace. Ning Cheng had not been in the Yixing mainland for a long time, but he had heard that once a cultivator threw out their storage bag or storage ring, as long as it was not a deep hatred, then the other party would have to be spared. Moreover, he was not really that bloodthirsty. He knew that if he spoke too well this time, then there would only be more and more people coming after his mine. If there were no good things inside, then it would not be a good thing, but once someone dug out a good thing, then it would not be a good thing. Since the battle was over, Ning Cheng put away the few storage bags and turned the few cultivators that he had killed into ashes, and then slowly walked towards his mine. Ning Cheng had fought against 6 late-stage true condensation cultivators. He had killed 4 of them, and had even snatched away 6 storage bags. This kind of strength was clearly seen by everyone. No one dared to have any ideas about Ning Cheng's mine, of course. This was because Ning Cheng's mine only had low-grade spirit stones. This elder brother, I am Yang Shuhui from the Fu Continent's Yu sect. If elder brother does not mind, I am willing to help you mine. I only need 10%. A very pure and beautiful female cultivator was standing at the entrance of Ning Cheng's mine. As she spoke to Ning Cheng in a soft voice, her tone was very pleasant to listen to, and even had a bit of sincerity to it. People who heard this voice would immediately have a good impression of her. Not to mention seeing such a beautiful female cultivator. Fu Continent? Is it the one next to the advanced class continent? Ning Cheng had heard of the Fu Continent among the 3 intermediate class continents, the Jia Continent, the Central Continent and the Fu Continent. The Fu Continent was the closest to the advanced class continent, the Southern Continent. Ning Cheng wanted to take Luofei to the advanced class continent in the future, so when he heard about the Fu Continent he immediately asked about it. That's right. Our Yu sect often has outstanding disciples selected by the Southern Continent. Elder brother, which continent are you from? This beautiful female cultivator called Yang Shuhui, on hearing Ning Cheng's reply, immediately spoke up in a happy voice. I am from the Ping Continent. To be honest, Yang Shuhui's eyes were very beautiful, and her words were also very soft. As such, Ning Cheng already had a good impression of her. However, his mine had already been dug. If an outsider wanted to form a partnership with him, then he would have to divide his mine, which was absolutely impossible. This Yu sect's name was somewhat similar to the Huayu Academy. Ning Cheng also knew that the Huayu Academy would definitely not be able to compare with the Yu sect. Ping Continent. Yang Shuhui apparently did not respond. After a good while she spoke in a surprised voice. Are you talking about the Ping Continent of the 3 lower-class continents? The Ping Continent has someone like you. Seemingly feeling that the last sentence was somewhat impolite, Yang Shuhui awkwardly spoke. Because the Ping Continent is lacking in resources, moreover I heard that the cultivation methods are not complete, so I felt a bit strange. I hope you don't mind. Saying that, her emotions seemed to have become even more excited. This elder brother, with your ability, you can definitely join our Yu sect. My Yu sect's disciples cultivate in pairs of men and women. I think that you are very great, if you are willing to join our Yu sect. Yang Shuhui also seemed to feel a bit embarrassed. As she spoke till the end, she unexpectedly lowered her head. Ning Cheng suddenly realized, it turned out to be a dual cultivation academy. This Yang Shuhui looked pure and beautiful, but this was the first time she saw him, and she immediately began to seek a mate. Was this her true temperament? Or was the entire Yu sect rotten? So you came from a dual cultivation academy? Ning Cheng subconsciously spoke out. Yang Shuhui's embarrassment had already disappeared, as she somewhat eagerly replied. Yes, do you want to join the Yu sect? I'm sorry, I have no interest in a dual cultivation academy. Ning Cheng was too lazy to answer Yang Shuhui, as he quickly entered his own mine. Yang Shuhui stared blankly at Ning Cheng as he entered the mine. She completely did not understand why Ning Cheng was acting like this. In the Yu sect, it was very normal to have a dual cultivation with one's partner. The Yu sect paid particular attention to one's true temperament and not pretentious. If one likes someone, then one would pursue them. So why was the opposite party's reaction so strange? Chapter 133. This person actually rejected Yang Shuhui. The few cultivators who knew Yang Shuhui were surprised. In Fu Prefecture's Yu sect, Yang Shuhui was a famous existence. There were very few cultivators that could enter her eyes, but this true condensation 4th level cultivator was fancied by someone else, and unexpectedly refused. His vision is quite high. In the distance, the veiled woman who had been staring at Ning Cheng unconsciously spoke out. The middle-aged man beside her smiled faintly. He has the qualifications. I reckon that he isn't even 30 years old yet. To have such ability, his spirit root must be pretty good. I didn't expect that a barren place like the Ping continent would have such a cultivator. The woman wearing the veil chuckled. Uncle Tian, do you want to recommend this person to the elders, so that he can join our Wu Nian Academy? The middle-aged man once again smiled and said, This young man is indeed good, but it is only because he comprehended a good act's intent. If one could casually join the Wu Nian Academy, then the Wu Nian Academy would not have such a big reputation. Wuxia, you have to remember that although your aptitude is better than anyone else's, you must be careful here. At least before you grow up, don't look down on anyone. I understand. The veiled woman nodded, then turned around and quickly left. The middle-aged man quickly followed her. The two of them turned a blind eye to the endless spirit stone mine here, let alone mining. After Ning Cheng once again entered the mine, the first thing he did was to throw out some array flags and arrange a shielding array formation. Not only did he block other people's spiritual senses, but he also blocked the overflow of spiritual energy. Some of the cultivators who paid close attention to Ning Cheng, after learning that Ning Cheng was also an array formation master, quickly shifted their spiritual senses away. It was not that Ning Cheng had just thought of arranging an array formation, but rather he had deliberately waited for people to find him, and only after he had established his prestige did he come to do so. Otherwise, he would have to set up a new formation. Now that he had established his prestige, no one dared to come to his mind to make a fuss. After arranging the array formation, Ning Cheng sped up his mining speed as he collected the low-grade spirit stones into his storage bag. In just the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, Ning Cheng found a spirit stone with a much richer spiritual chi compared to the low-grade spirit stones. Ning Cheng was overjoyed in his heart. He knew that these were medium-grade spirit stones. This mine had only been excavated for a short period of time, and they had already discovered a middle-grade spirit stone. There would definitely be even higher-grade spirit stones later on. The facts proved that Ning Cheng was not wrong. After digging for another 2 hours, he finally managed to dig out a few high-grade spirit stones. The high-grade spirit stones in the spirit stone mine, he was informed a spirit stone line, surrounded by low-grade spirit stones and medium-grade spirit stones. At this time Ning Cheng no longer had any interest in low-grade spirit stones and medium-grade spirit stones. He put all of his energy into the high-grade spirit stone mine. Ning Cheng was practically digging out spirit stones day and night. He was very glad that he had snatched a few storage bags, otherwise he would not even have a place to put his spirit stones. Ning Cheng did not know for how long he had been digging, but when an extremely soft milky white light appeared in front of him, Ning Cheng's heart suddenly started to beat wildly. He knew that he had also dug out the best quality spirit stones, and it was not just one. Suppressing the excitement in his heart, Ning Cheng quickly and carefully dug out the 7 best quality spirit stones and put them into his storage bag. After digging out the 7 best quality spirit stones, Ning Cheng once again dug out, but found that there were no more spirit stones. He knew that he had already dug out the entire spirit stone mine line. As for the many low-grade spirit stones around him, he simply did not have any interest in them. Ning Cheng immediately used the dust removal technique on himself, and quickly came out of the mine. He decided to leave this place. He had obtained enough spirit stones. The next thing he wanted to do was to use all of his time to cultivate. Seeing Ning Cheng come out, many of the surrounding cultivators immediately swarmed into the spirit stone mine that Ning Cheng had dug out. There are a lot of low-grade spirit stones, and there are even medium-grade spirit stones. Ning Cheng had already removed the shielding restriction, allowing everyone to clearly see the situation inside. Even the medium-grade spirit stones were not taken, which immediately caused some people to stare at Ning Cheng. How many spirit stones did he dig out for these medium-grade spirit stones to be so dismissive? Some of the best quality spirit stones were dug out. Some of the more experienced cultivators had already judged that Ning Cheng had dug out the best quality spirit stones. Ning Cheng immediately knew that this was not good, as he stimulated his true essence to the max and wanted to leave this place. Previously, an essence-building cultivator, because he had dug out a best quality spirit stone, was seen by others and even lost his life. But his cultivation level was only at true condensation 4th level, so how could he bear it? But even though he was fast, the others were even faster. Dozens of true condensation cultivators had already surrounded Ning Cheng. Moreover, there was even an essence-building cultivator among them. But these were not the things that worried Ning Cheng the most. What worried him the most was that there were still a few essence-building cultivators staring at him from a distance, as if they would come over at any time. Ning Cheng knew that any words he said at this time would only be nonsense. As such, he did not hesitate to bring out his golden great axe, as he did not hold back even a little bit of his true essence, as a fierce axe-type killing intent was stirred up. The surrounding true condensation cultivators knew that Ning Cheng's great axe was very powerful. As such, they immediately retreated. They wanted to wait for Ning Cheng's true essence to dry up, and then only then would they make their move against Ning Cheng. But that essence-building cultivator was not even the slightest bit afraid, as he raised his hand and brought out a steel fan. As he waved the fan's shadow, the surrounding imposing manner was completely swept up by him. He had seen Ning Cheng's axe-type killing intent. As long as he could wrap around Ning Cheng's axe-type killing intent, then he would be able to easily kill Ning Cheng. The imposing manner of the true essence and Ning Cheng's axe-type killing intent had not yet completely collided together, when a clear trace of the magical technique exploded in the air. Although the great axe was filled with a berserk killing intent, but it did not bring out a large number of golden axe shadows like before. Rather, it formed a huge whirlpool of axe-type killing intent, as it brought out a tornado-like axe-type killing intent. The killing force in a radius of several feet was completely gathered together by this great axe. It made people feel that as long as they were in the middle of this whirlpool, then they would be blasted into nothingness by this tornado of axe-type killing intent. This essence-building cultivator had misjudged Ning Cheng's tornado. He thought that Ning Cheng would still use the angry axe's first form, but he did not expect that Ning Cheng would suddenly use the angry axe's second form, tornado. Although his imposing manner was formidable, but it was simply unable to resist the killing force that had formed into a powerful whirlpool. Bang! The golden great axe finally brought out the tornado of killing intent, and solidly bombarded the imposing manner of the essence-building cultivator's steel fan. The huge might behind it directly blew away the nearby true condensation cultivators. This essence-building cultivator bore the brunt of the attack, and was directly bombarded by the tornado of killing intent. Even if he was already at the intermediate stage of essence-building realm, but he was directly blown away by this terrifying whirlpool of axe-type killing intent, as he spat out a few mouthfuls of blood in the air. Even his internal organs were spat out. Even if that was the case, this essence-building cultivator was still able to call back his steel fan-type artifact in the air. Although the steel fan-type artifact was blown away by Ning Cheng's tornado of killing force, but it was once again called back by the essence-building cultivator. After the steel fan was in the hands of this essence-building cultivator, he casually waved it, and simultaneously shot out 3 white blade lights. These 3 blade lights directly cut through the distance between him and Ning Cheng. As they rumbled towards Ning Cheng, Ning Cheng's tornado of killing intent was far beyond the expectations of this essence-building cultivator, but his true essence and spiritual sense, when compared to an essence-building cultivator, was simply too far apart. Even if he had taken the absolute initiative, but he was still hit by the formidable true essence imposing manner, as it exploded on his chest, and he was also sent flying upside down. At this time, the opposite party's steel fan once again blasted out 3 white blade lights. Ning Cheng was also in the air. He could only barely avoid one of the blade lights. If his strength was enough, he could once again use the first trace and block the remaining 2 terrifying blade lights. Unfortunately, Ningqing did not have this kind of strength. All he could do was to crazily stimulate his true essence, and was barely able to block the golden great axe's vital points. Cha-cha! The 2 white blade lights exploded on top of the golden great axe, giving out an unpleasant grinding sound, as a formidable force once again passed through the golden great axe and exploded on Ningqing's chest. Ka-ka! Several sounds of bones breaking could be heard, as Ningqing once again crazily spurted out a few mouthfuls of blood, while at the same time he was seriously injured. This was because the essence-building cultivator was seriously injured, and had brought out those 2 white lights in the process of retreating. Moreover, when those 2 white lights exploded on Ningqing's body, Ningqing was still retreating. If that essence-building cultivator had seriously brought out these 2 white lights, and Ningqing was not moving backwards, then Ningqing estimated that he would have already been split into 2 halves. Ningqing was seriously injured. Several true condensation cultivators instantly rushed over. They wanted to snatch Ningqing's storage bag and escape. However, even if Ningqing was seriously injured, he was still facing an intermediate stage essence-building cultivator. As such a few true condensation cultivators, they really could not stop him. Still in the air, Ningqing once again stimulated his true essence, and used the angry axe, the first trace. His broken sternum made Ningqing's face break out in a cold sweat, and his complexion became incomparably pale. Even if that was the case, the angry axe, the first trace, was still able to cut apart the 5 early stage and intermediate stage true condensation cultivators in front of him. After Ningqing killed those 5 cultivators, he did not dare to delay even for a moment. He did not even care about the consequences, as he crazily burned his remaining true essence to escape. Before, when he was facing the fatal attack from the essence-building cultivator, Ningqing did not even burn his true essence. It was because he was waiting for this moment to escape. From the time Ningqing was surrounded by the others, to the time Ningqing exchanged a move with that intermediate stage essence-building cultivator, to the time Ningqing killed those 5 people and escaped, it all happened in just a few breaths of time. The several early-stage essence-building cultivators who came near hesitated for a moment. When they saw that Ningqing was even able to seriously injure an intermediate-stage essence-building cultivator, they could not help but hesitate. Because of this slight hesitation, Ningqing had already disappeared from their sight. But there were more than a dozen true condensation cultivators at the edge of the battlefield who knew that Ningqing was already an arrow at the end of its flight. As such, after Ningqing escaped, they immediately chased after him. For a true condensation cultivator, a best quality spirit stone was much more precious than a true condensation pill. A true condensation pill also had pill poison, so what could be better than using a best quality spirit stone to cultivate in the true condensation realm? One of the essence-building cultivators hesitated for a moment, and finally chased after the direction where Ningqing disappeared. Most of the essence-building cultivators did not chase after Ningqing. Whether or not Ningqing had obtained a best-quality spirit stone, they did not know. Rather than wasting time chasing after Ningqing, it would be better to dig up some high-grade spirit stones here. Chapter 134. Ningqing knew that his injuries were too heavy. As such, he did not dare to go back directly, but rather changed a direction and desperately ran. His true essence and spiritual sense were much more powerful than the average true condensation cultivators. But now that he was desperately burning his true essence, his speed was incomparably fast. In just a short time, he had already rushed out of the range of the true condensation cultivator's spiritual sense. But Ningqing knew that if he continued on like this, then he would definitely be caught by an essence-building cultivator. After escaping to a certain distance, Ningqing directly hid in a gully, while simultaneously throwing out dozens of array flags. This was the level 2 shielding array formation that Ningqing had arranged in the shortest possible time. He knew that at this time, other than using an array formation, there was no other way. If it was only a true condensation cultivator chasing him, then he could still escape, but in case there was an essence-building cultivator chasing him, then he would not be so lucky. Fortunately, only essence-building cultivators could enter this place. Otherwise, even if he arranged a concealment array formation, it would not be of any use. Inside the concealment array formation, Ning Cheng converged his aura and carefully swallowed a mysterious frost zoisha. The injuries he had suffered were far too severe. Not only that, but after being seriously injured, he had still forcibly stimulated his true essence and burned it to escape. This made things even worse for him. If not for the mysterious yellow origin remolding his meridians, then Ning Cheng's meridians would have completely shattered. Even if a true condensation 4th level cultivator was powerful, they would not be able to contend against an essence-building cultivator, not to mention a middle-stage essence-building cultivator. Ning Cheng endured the tearing pain all over his body and laughed at himself in his heart. He had thought that this whirlwind would be able to kill an essence-building cultivator. This whirlwind was able to kill an essence-building cultivator. It was definitely an early-stage essence-building cultivator who was successfully sneak-attacked by him. Otherwise, he absolutely would not be able to kill an essence-building cultivator. Previously, when that intermediate-stage essence-building cultivator was seriously injured, he also suspected that he had sneak-attacked him. Otherwise, he would not have been able to take advantage of him. The effect of the mysterious frost zoisha was very good, but it was not omnipotent. After all, it was not the profound replenishment pill. His injuries were still getting more and more serious. If he took the mysterious frost zoisha, he could immediately combine it with his true essence to dissolve the medicinal properties of the spiritual grasses. Perhaps it would have an effect. At this moment, Ning Cheng did not even dare to stretch out his spiritual sense, not to mention revolving his true essence to heal himself. With so many people chasing after him, he wouldn't be able to escape far. Once there was a fluctuation of spiritual energy, he would definitely be discovered. After a full 3 hours passed by, Ning Cheng started to feel increasingly weak. If he did not find a place to heal himself, then perhaps his foundation would once again be destroyed. The mysterious yellow origin had helped him reshape it once, so who knew if it could reshape it a second time. He carefully extended his divine sense, and after confirming that there was no one around, he quickly came out of his hiding place, changed his direction, and ran towards the river as fast as he could. Yu Ying impatiently paced back and forth in the small hall. She was not only impatient, but also afraid. This was the bottom of the river, and there was no one around. Even the sound was isolated by the array formation. This kind of loneliness and solitude made it impossible for her to feel at ease, let alone cultivate. When she hid in the cave alone, she could at least hear all kinds of sounds. Although he was afraid, he didn't know how lonely he was. Only now did she realize that a world without sound was the loneliest. When would Ning Cheng come back? He had been gone for nearly 4 days. After wandering around for a long time, Yu Ying finally could not stand this kind of loneliness without any sound. She wanted to go up and have a look. Yu Ying walked out of the crescent-shaped arch and took out the array flag that Ning Cheng had given her and threw it down. Sure enough, the broken gap that Ning Cheng had temporarily sealed up once again opened up. Yu Ying swam in the somewhat cold river water, but on the contrary, she calmed down. She finally heard a sound, indicating that she was not the only person in this world. Even if there was only the sound of the water and the sound of the fish swimming, it was still good. After drilling out of the water, Yu Ying had just taken a deep breath when she saw Ning Cheng lying on the riverside covered in blood. It was obvious that he was seriously injured. Yu Ying was shocked in her heart. She quickly rushed out of the river and picked up Ning Cheng. Yu Ying was not ignorant. When she held Ning Cheng in her arms, she knew that Ning Cheng was still breathing, but he had already switched to internal breathing. It seemed that he was healing himself. Yu Ying calmed down a bit and imitated Ning Cheng. She fixed Ning Cheng on her back. But when she was ready to dive into the river, she saw the blood on the riverside. Yu Ying quickly used the water to wash away the blood, and once again dived into the water with Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng was seriously injured. It was obvious that he was being chased by others. In case the others saw the blood and came here, it would be the end for them. Fortunately, the thing that Yu Ying was worried about did not happen. She put Ning Cheng on her back into the concealment array formation, and once again put away the array flag. Only then did Yu Ying's nervous heart calm down a bit. Yu Ying put Ning Cheng down on the exquisite wooden bed. Looking at Ning Cheng, who still had not woken up, she felt a bit embarrassed. Ning Cheng's injuries were so serious, she did not know what to do. She could not let Ning Cheng lie down with his whole body wet, right? After thinking for a long time, Ewing still took off Ning Cheng's wet clothes. Looking at the shocking wound on Ning Cheng's chest, Ewing was secretly shocked in her heart. Ning Cheng was seriously injured, and yet he was still able to return to this place. Carefully wiping off the blood on Ning Cheng's body, Ewing looked at Ning Cheng's shorts, and finally did not have the courage to help Ning Cheng take it off. Not to mention taking it off, just looking at it made her tremble with fear. If it was replaced with an E, then she would definitely not hesitate to help Ning Cheng strip naked. But she and an E were different. She knew a lot more than an E. She did not go through Ning Cheng's storage bag, but just covered Ning Cheng's body with a thin silk quilt that was originally on the side of the wooden bed. When Ning Cheng was brought back to the bed by Ewing, the injuries on his body had already begun to heal automatically. If it was someone else who was crazily burning their true essence to escape, even if it did not hurt their foundation, it would not be a matter of a day or two. Ning Cheng's meridians were remolded by the mysterious yellow origin, so although the burning of his true essence was serious, it was not enough to hurt his foundation. Now that he felt safe, he subconsciously closed his six senses. Ning Cheng, who had rarely dreamed since he started cultivating, once again had a very long dream. He brought Luo Fei back to Jiangzhou and held a very grand wedding in Jiangzhou. His younger sister Ruolan was present at his wedding. When he wanted to talk to his younger sister actually ignored him. She said that he was fickle in love with the new and tired of the old, and found Ji Luo Fei, and forgot about Tian Muwan. But at this time, he actually saw Tian Muwan among the guests, but the person accompanying Tian Muwan was the same person who had driven her away. Ning Cheng suddenly broke out in a cold sweat, as he suddenly sat up. "You woke up, you scared me to death." Ewing knew that Ning Cheng's meridians were beating more and more strongly, but she was still very worried. After all, Ning Cheng had not woken up since she had carried him back. Ning Cheng glanced at the few storage bags beside him, and knew in his heart that it was Ewing who had saved him. Before he had fallen on the riverside, he still had some consciousness, but his body was too bad, and there was no way for him to return to the river. "Ewing, thank you for saving me." Ning Cheng sighed, and sat up. As long as he returned to this place, even if his injuries were more serious, he would be able to recover quickly. Ewing, on seeing Ning Cheng's naked upper body, her face turned red and said, "I was a bit anxious to stay here alone, so I went out to have a look. I did not expect to see you lying on the riverside." Ning Cheng nodded, as he took out a robe and casually put it on, as he sighed and said, "I will not be going out for some time. And after 3 months, we will be transmitted out together." When Ewing heard that Ning Cheng would not be able to go out, she was the happiest in her heart. She was afraid that she would be left alone in this place. Ning Cheng shook his head. "Even if the 3 months are up, I estimate that I will not be able to go out. If I have not guessed wrong, then this place should have an array formation that I cannot see. Perhaps it would not be affected by the transmission. If this place could also be transmitted out, then the senior who opened up this place would have already been transmitted out. How could he open up an immortal cave in this place? Why not go out?" Ewing asked in surprise. As for Ning Cheng saying that this place would not be transmitted out, she completely ignored it. "That old man surnamed Kong would not let me go. I do not have the strength. If I go out, then I would only be courting death." Ning Cheng spoke in a deep voice. For Ning Cheng, if he could stay in this place, then he would definitely not go out. After all, he and that old man surnamed Kong had not completely shed all pretense of cordiality. Once they completely shed all pretense of cordiality, then perhaps even Ji Luofei would suffer a calamity. Ewing quickly asked, "Senior Kong is very easy to talk to, moreover he is also a good person, moreover he is even more amiable to me. If you offended him, then I will go and talk to him. He should not be able to do anything to you." Ning Cheng sneered. "You go and talk to him, you should think about yourself first. You should be glad that you were squeezed into this place. Otherwise you would absolutely not have a good end. Do not think that I am exaggerating things." Ewing looked at Ning Cheng in shock. She even forgot to ask Ning Cheng why she would not have a good end. Ning Cheng was silent for a moment before he asked, Ying, how many changes did you see in the first round of the 5-star tournament? There were a total of more than 50 changes, but I felt that there should be more changes, it's just that I could not see that many, Ying honestly replied. In the second round of the tournament, what did you comprehend? Ning Cheng once again asked. Ying frowned. She felt that there was something wrong with this matter, but she still did not conceal anything from Ning Cheng and said, I felt that those changes were the source of a cultivation method. It seems that I saw the most ancient and most mysterious thing, but I was not able to understand what that thing was. Ning Cheng, on hearing Ying's words, suddenly froze. Ying was able to see more than 50 changes. It was already completely beyond his expectations. But he did not think that Ying's understanding of the changes in the leather parchment was completely different from his. What he saw was more than 600 changes. The changes that he saw seemed to be some kind of cultivation method or magical technique. But Ying actually saw the origin of a cultivation method. Did Ying have a more thorough understanding than him? Chapter 135. Ning Cheng quickly put this question aside, and said to Ying in a dignified manner, I thought that the person surnamed Kong brought you to the Jia continent, not to let you participate in the 7-star academy, but to bring you back to his immortal cave. If I did not guess wrong, then the first and second round of the test was deliberately done by him. He obtained a very good leather scroll, but was unable to unlock the contents of the leather scroll. Ying was not stupid. Ning Cheng had not finished his words. She completely understood the meaning of Ning Cheng's words. She looked at Ning Cheng with some disbelief and asked, You mean to say that he wanted me to help him unlock the contents of the leather scroll? Ning Cheng once again sneered. If that is the case, then it would be easy to handle. Do you think that the contents of the leather scroll would be simple? Do you think that he would let a person who knows the contents of the leather scroll leave so easily? Big brother Ning. Ying shivered. Ning Cheng's words were simply too terrifying. Then she remembered that Senior Kong had looked at her with a fiery gaze. Initially she had thought that the other party had taken a fancy to her excellent qualifications, but now that she thought about it, it did not seem to be the case. The other party had asked her questions about how could her memory be so strong, and what kind of opportunity did she have. But he had never asked her how long she had cultivated, if she had any doubts, what kind of cultivation method she used, and so on. Ning Cheng did not continue to say anything. He had already mentioned it. Whether Ying believed him or not was her problem. It had nothing to do with him. Ying's face changed for a while, and then she bowed to Ning Cheng and said, Many thanks big brother Ning for dispelling my doubts. I was too naive. Ning Cheng nodded, and after hesitating for a while he still spoke. Your spiritual root and talent are indeed very good, but at the beginning of the written examination on the stage, there were also people with similar qualifications, such as that Lung Yang. There were even some who were even better than you. Why were you able to easily obtain so many points higher than the others? In fact, I am also very curious. Did you have any fortuitous encounters or something like that? Ying was silent. Ning Cheng also asked her about this matter. Was it because Ning Cheng and that person surnamed Kong had the same disposition? Ning Cheng had mixed around in the city for many years, and had also mixed around in the Yixing mainland for a few days. So when Ying was silent, he knew what Ying was thinking. He simply closed his eyes, and no longer bothered to inquire about this matter. He himself was able to remember more than 600 changing pictures. Why would he care about the dozens of pictures that Ying had remembered? His original intention was to know why Ying was able to see a picture that was more essential than what he was seeing. Seeing that Ning Cheng no longer asked, Ying finally opened her mouth and said, My grandfather said that I was born prematurely, because my father and my mother were rushing through the time marsh, when they encountered the Heart of Time. Heart of Time. Ning Cheng repeated the words. This was the first time he had heard of this name. Ying gave an sound and said, That's right, my mother wanted to grab the Heart of Time, but she did not expect that just as she approached the Heart of Time, she would be eroded by the flow of time, and her face would rapidly age, causing her to give birth to me prematurely. As for the Heart of Time, because of my mother's approach, it quickly disappeared into the depths of the swamp of time. My father hurriedly brought my mother out of the swamp of time, and then brought my elder brother and my grandfather to the Ping continent. Ning Cheng came to know that the Yu Ying siblings were not people from the Ping continent. Since Yu Ying's father was able to bring the Yu Ying siblings to the Ping continent, it was obvious that he was not a simple person. Where is this swamp of time? Ning Cheng suddenly had a great interest in this heart of time. Yu Ying shook her head and said, I do not know, this is what my grandfather told me. After my father sent us to the Ping continent, he took my mother to look for spiritual grasses to treat her. My father said that he would come back soon, but after more than 10 years, my grandfather also passed away, and my parents have not come back. Last time Senior Kong also asked me if I had any opportunities, but I did not say anything, as my grandfather said that I cannot tell anyone about this matter. Big brother Ning, you saved my life. I think there is nothing to hide. My memory is much better than my elder brother. My grandfather once said that it might be because of the heart of time, but my grandfather did not know what the heart of time was. Ning Cheng was very suspicious that Yu Ying's powerful comprehension ability was related to the heart of time, but he did not know what the heart of time was. After listening to Yu Ying's words, he said, What your grandfather said is right. This kind of thing should not be told to others. Yu Ying in her heart was somewhat disapproving. You can't tell others. Aren't you someone else? Didn't I tell you about it when you asked me? Ning Cheng quickly recovered from his injuries. Yu Ying was after all a young girl, and was not much different from Ning Cheng's age, so after the two of them talked for a while, she had already completely removed all the restraints on her body. Big brother Ning, did you say that you gave this pair of pearl hair clips to your younger sister? As the two of them became more familiar with each other, Yu Ying increasingly did not regard Ning Cheng as an outsider, and even took out the pair of pearl hair clips that Ning Cheng had given her. Ning Cheng picked up the pearl hair clip in Yu Ying's hand, and looked at it for a long time before saying, I had already given her one of these pearl hair clips, because I could not see my younger sister, so when I saw the same pearl hair clip that I had given to my younger sister, I wanted to buy it. Big brother Ning, why did you only give her one? Who did you give the other one to? Is your younger sister Ruolan or Muwan? Yu Ying had not spoken to anyone for a long time, but now that Ning Cheng started talking about it, it was simply endless. Ning Cheng frowned. He guessed that he had called out his younger sister's name while he was unconscious. Seeing Ning Cheng frown, Yu Ying quickly spoke up. Big brother Ning, don't misunderstand. I heard you calling out those names while you were asleep. That elder sister Luo Fei should be the elder sister that I saw in the Moze Grand Plaza, right? Ning Cheng sighed. My younger sister is called Ning Ruolan. She is just like you, a very cute girl. There was also a pearl hair clip that I had given to that Muwan, but she threw it away in front of me. Saying that, he gave a self-deprecating smile. That pearl hair clip was not thrown away by Tian Muwan, but for Ning Cheng, he would rather Tian Muwan throw it away herself, rather than letting others throw it away. Seeing Ning Cheng's somewhat self-deprecating expression, Yu Ying immediately understood what was going on, and quickly spoke up. Big brother Ning, I think that elder sister Luo Fei is a very good person. She also understood why Ning Cheng was so good to her. It was because he missed his younger sister. After saying that, she felt that her words were a bit monotonous, and quickly returned the pearl hair clip that Ning Cheng had given to her to Ning Cheng and said, Big brother Ning, why don't you give this pearl hair clip to elder sister Luo Fei? Yu Ying did not know why that person called Muwan would throw away big brother Ning's pearl hair clip, but she had seen Luo Fei before, and was very concerned about Ning Cheng. As such, she would definitely not throw away Ning Cheng's pearl hair clip. Ning Cheng smiled and spoke. The past is the past, I just occasionally think about it. As for this pair of pearl hair clips, if you like it very much, then you can keep it for yourself. Initially, it was because I did not give my entire pair of pearl hair clips to my younger sister, which caused a few things to happen. Yu Ying really did not want to part with the pearl hair clip in her hands. After hesitating for a moment, she took one back and said, Big brother Ning, I will also keep one. I will certainly not throw it away. Elder sister Luo Fei will also certainly not throw it away. Ning Cheng looked at the extremely ordinary pearl hair clip in his hands, nodded and put it away. All right, then let's do it. When Yu Ying saw Ning Cheng put away the pearl hair clip, She was even more happy in her heart, as she also put away the pearl hair clip and asked, "Big brother Ning, I think that you are a very good person. Why do Lu Shui and Yongguyan not like you?" "You will understand it later." "That's right, you do not have to cultivate your original cultivation method. You can take a look inside your ring to see if there is a suitable cultivation method for you. If there is, then you can change to another cultivation method to cultivate." Ning Qing did not explain that Yongguyan did not like him. Explaining this kind of thing was simply too boring. As for how Yongguyan and the others looked at him, he simply did not care about it. Yuing thought back to the words that Ning Qing had said before, that he wanted her to judge whether a matter was right or wrong, and even if she did not understand it, she still gave an sound. Regarding the matter of the cultivation method, she had already looked inside her ring. Inside the ring there was a jade strip containing a non-attributed cultivation method. She did not know what grade it was, but she had originally intended to change to the non-attributed cultivation method. Seeing Ning Cheng begin to close his eyes to heal, Yuing quickly left the room. Now that Ning Cheng had returned, she was no longer afraid, and could start cultivating. Ning Cheng's consciousness was already immersed in the changes of the more than 600 pictures that he had memorized. He wanted to know why his understanding of the changes in the leather parchment was different from Yu Ying's. When Ning Cheng was completely immersed in the changes of these pictures, he unexpectedly once again saw a different picture. These pictures were definitely not the more than 600 pictures that he had seen before, but it was more than double. Although Ning Cheng's cultivation was limited, but his Zifu, because of the mysterious yellow bead, had become incomparably powerful. Even if there were so many changes, it still did not make him dizzy. Perhaps it was because of Yu Ying's reminder, but Ning Cheng really was able to see the source of the cultivation method in the original picture. These pictures gradually merged with the formless that he had felt when he had entered the mysterious yellow bead for the first time, causing Ning Cheng to unconsciously enter into a state of cultivation. After a moment, Ning Cheng opened his eyes and raised his hands from the storage bag as he took out countless high-grade spirit stones, and once again began to cultivate. He clearly understood what formless meant. It could be said that this was a cultivation method that did not have a cultivation method to cultivate. This formless represented that there was no cultivation method, but as long as he started cultivating at this moment, his consciousness would be able to produce the most correct way to circulate his true essence. Rather than saying that there was no cultivation method, it would be better to say that it was a cultivation method that was constantly changing. This cultivation method would change according to the time, the place, and the degree of spiritual qi. This was a cultivation method that could not be inherited, and could only be cultivated by him alone. The information in the leather scroll combined with the information that he had obtained from the mysterious yellow origin, allowing Ning Cheng to vaguely grasp the so-called cultivation methods of the heaven and earth. Just like when he had obtained the 5 treasures of good fortune from the mysterious yellow bead, he had learned that there were 5 cultivation methods in the chaotic universe that were not accepted by the heaven and earth. But he could only feel that his cultivation method was formed by the origin in his mind. This cultivation method did not have a fixed shape, and could change at any time and anywhere. It belonged to the primal chaos origin cultivation method, and could only be obtained by those who did not have a peerless opportunity. The more complete the origin was, the more powerful the cultivation method would be. This cultivation method was not accepted by the heaven and earth. If one did not have great wisdom and perseverance, if one did not cultivate their corporeal body, then they would definitely turn into ashes under the thunder tribulation. As for the other 4 cultivation methods that were not accepted by the heaven and earth, he only knew that they existed, but he was not able to understand what they were. Chapter 136. After changing her cultivation method, Yuing only used a few days to break through to the Qi gathering 7th level. She was overjoyed in her heart, but after she stopped cultivating, she remembered that it had already been a few days, and Ning Cheng did not seem to have come out. Yuing hurried into the room. When she saw that the spiritual qi in the room had turned into a mist, she was almost shocked. At this time Ning Cheng had already come down from the bed, and was sitting in the middle of the room cultivating. The entire room was covered with spirit stones. She could only see that the spiritual qi had completely formed into a whirlpool shape, which was then absorbed by Ningcheng. Yuying had also seen other people cultivate, and even when she herself cultivated, she also absorbed spiritual qi, but she had never seen such a terrifying scene of absorbing spiritual qi. She knew that Ningcheng was currently cultivating, and could not be disturbed. As such, she quickly and carefully leaned against the door to cultivate. The spiritual energy here was so rich that it was many times better than cultivating by absorbing spirit stones. Ningcheng's injuries had long since disappeared. As such, he could only feel the rich spiritual qi continuously being absorbed by him, before transforming it into true essence. At this time, Ningcheng only knew how much spiritual qi he could absorb. He had never felt so carefree while cultivating. This feeling was simply indescribable. The rich spiritual qi combined with the mysterious yellow origin aura caused Ningcheng's cultivation to slowly rise. Compared to cultivating with a few spirit stones in the past, it was completely incomparable. Yuying stood at the door and looked at him. Ningcheng was also clear in his heart, but at this moment he completely ignored Yuying's thoughts. After a month, Ningcheng was already at true condensation 5th level. After 3 months, Ningcheng was already at true condensation 6th level. Half a year later, Ningcheng was already at the peak of true condensation 7th level. But at this time, the spirit stones that were around Ningcheng were almost completely consumed. As Yuying cultivated under the rich spiritual mist that Ningcheng had stimulated, her cultivation speed was much faster compared to when she had absorbed the high-grade spirit stones. Moreover, in the midst of this rich spiritual mist, there was also a trace of the mysterious yellow aura, which allowed Yuying to advance by leaps and bounds, and her progress was not the least bit slower than Ningcheng's. Yuying advanced to the qi gathering 8th level. When she got up to eat, Ningcheng was cultivating. When she finished eating, she continued to cultivate, and advanced to the qi gathering 9th level, while Ningcheng was still cultivating. The only difference was that Ningcheng would occasionally subconsciously eat a few pieces of dry food. Fortunately, she still knew that Ningcheng was cultivating. Otherwise, she might have gone crazy. The only thing she could do was to get up, eat something, and continue cultivating. On this day, Yuying felt all of the meridians in her body erupt with crackling sounds, while at the same time, all of the true qi in her body began to transforming into an even more formidable true essence. Yuying understood that she was about to advance to the true condensation realm. Yuying did not have a true condensation pill. As such, she did not know that advancing to the true condensation realm required a true condensation pill. But without a true condensation pill, one would be able to advance to the true condensation realm. So when she felt that she needed to advance to the true condensation realm, she quickly settled her heart and concentrated all of her concentration on transforming her qi. When Ningcheng broke through to the true condensation 8th level, Yuying, with the help of the rich spiritual qi and a trace of the mysterious yellow aura, was able to break through the shackles of the true condensation 8th level. As her true essence surged out, she could not help but give out a crisp and clear cry. Ningcheng opened his eyes and stood up. He could feel that his true essence was several times stronger than before, causing him to feel both surprised and distressed in his heart. He was pleasantly surprised that he unexpectedly advanced to the true condensation 8th level. Moreover, his strength was so formidable. His heart ached because he had dug out so many spirit stones, but all of them were used up by him. But with so many spirit stones, he had only advanced to the true condensation 8th level. With his cultivation speed, just how many spirit stones would he need to advance to the profound core realm? Ah, Big Brother Ning, I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself. It definitely affected your cultivation. Yuying, on seeing Ningcheng wake up, spoke in a somewhat flustered manner. Ningcheng was in a good mood, and was just about to crack a joke, when he said in amazement, "Yuying, you unexpectedly advanced to the true condensation realm? Where did you get the true condensation pill from?" Yuying blankly said, "I do not have a true condensation pill. After I reached the qi gathering 9th level, I naturally broke through the qi gathering realm, and advanced to the true condensation realm. Well, I remember now, it should be because of Big Brother Ning. I cultivated in this room. Not only was my cultivation speed a bit faster, But the spiritual mist was also a lot better than cultivating with spirit stones. Ningcheng was secretly surprised in his heart. This was a real genius. Just because of his spiritual mist, she casually advanced to the true condensation realm, and did not even need a single true condensation pill. When he had advanced to the true condensation realm, he and Tai Shu, in order to obtain a single true condensation pill, it was simply like fighting for their lives. This kind of person really could not be compared. How long have I been in seclusion? Ningcheng suddenly thought of this matter. If 3 months had already passed, then it would be equivalent to him succeeding. After that, he would have to find a way to leave the Angry Axe Valley, and then find a way to return to the Hua continent. I estimate that it has been 7 or 8 months. Although Yuing was also in seclusion, but she was not like Ningcheng. She almost every once in a while would come up to see Ningcheng. Sure enough, Ningcheng muttered to himself. Saying that, Ningcheng looked at Yuing and asked, Yuing, what are your plans? I do not know where to go. If that Senior Kong really has his eyes on me, then even if I return to the Hua continent, I would not be able to escape from his hands. I am just worried about my big brother. Yuing said in a somewhat dazed manner. If that person surnamed Kong really had his eyes on her, then she really would not have a place to go. Ningcheng said with certainty, that person surnamed Kong will definitely not go to the Hua continent. 3 months have already passed, and the two of us have not come out of the Angry Axe Valley. That person surnamed Kong would definitely think that something happened to us in the Angry Axe Valley. So as long as we can get out of the Angry Axe Valley, and then secretly leave the Jia continent, then there should not be any problems. Big brother Ning, do you want to go back to the Hua continent? Yuing immediately asked. Ningcheng shook his head. Not to mention that I do not have the ability to cross the Lost Mountain Range. Even if I could cross the Lost Mountain Range, at this time returning to the Hua continent would not be a good thing. What's more, even if we can get out of the Angry Axe Valley, it is not certain. That? Yuing completely did not pay attention to it. Ningcheng hesitated for a moment and said, I am not sure that after we get out of this place, we would not immediately be transferred out. Unfortunately, I do not have any spirit stones. If I had spirit stones, then maybe I could cultivate here until the essence building realm, and then go out. Ningcheng was really regretful. If he had more spirit stones, then he would definitely continue to cultivate. Once he reached the great circle of true condensation 9th level, then he would use the best quality spirit stones to attack the essence building realm. Anyway, he still had 7 best quality spirit stones. If one was not enough, then he would use 2. Big brother Ning, I have some spirit stones here. Yuing quickly took out her ring and handed it to Ningcheng. Big brother Ning, I do not have a place to go now. I can only follow behind you. Wait until your cultivation is high enough. Then I would also be a bit safer. I have also used a lot of your spiritual mist for my cultivation. These spirit stones would be the best for you to use for your cultivation. Yuing saw Ningcheng hesitating, and quickly added a sentence. Ningcheng nodded, and took the storage ring from Yuing and said, All right, I will first use your spirit stones. If after we get out, and are not transferred out, then I have a way to return your spirit stones. Ningcheng was not bragging. He knew about the spirit stone mine. There were definitely a lot of spirit stones there. Now that all the people had been transferred out, he could slowly dig out the spirit stones. He would definitely be able to get as many as he wanted. I do not want so many spirit stones. When Yuing heard that Ningcheng wanted to return the spirit stones to her, she quickly waved her hand. Ningcheng also did not explain, and took out all the spirit stones from Yu Ying's ring. Yu Ying's ring also had about 10,000 to 20,000 high-grade spirit stones. After Ningcheng took them all out, he once again filled the entire room. This time, Ningcheng arranged a small spiritual gathering array formation, and then continued to attack the true condensation 9th level. When Yuing saw Ningcheng begin to cultivate, she also stabilized her own cultivation. Ningcheng once again immersed himself in absorbing the spiritual qi. The spiritual qi in the room was quickly crazily absorbed by him, turning into a spiritual mist. Kacha, once again a few blocked acupuncture points were blasted open. Ningcheng entered the true condensation 9th level without any hindrance. In the wide and thick meridians, more and more true essence was gathering, bringing with it a gurgling sound. Ning Cheng was still crazily absorbing the spiritual qi. He was now completely unable to take into account the situation around him. He did not know how long it took, but his true essence had even turned into true liquid, although it was still called true essence, but his true essence had already begun to transform. The formidable true essence and spiritual sense were constantly scouring Ning Cheng's meridians and Zifu. Ning Cheng knew that he was about to break through to the essence-building realm. He did not hesitate to take out 2 best-quality spirit stones, holding one in each hand. The spiritual qi was soft and pure to the extreme, almost making Ning Cheng moan in comfort. This kind of spiritual qi was simply too addictive. It was simply not something that ordinary spirit stones could compare to. The huge amount of pure spiritual qi from the best quality spirit stones poured into Ning Cheng's meridians and dantian, turning into an even purer spiritual qi aura, once again scouring Ning Cheng's body. The impurities in his body and meridians were constantly being discharged. The recently strengthened true essence was flowing even more smoothly. Ning Cheng's meridians, which had been transformed by the mysterious yellow origin, were already wide and thick. After going through this impact, his meridians once again expanded and strengthened. Ning Cheng could vaguely feel a barrier. He felt that as long as he could break through this barrier, he would be able to see a whole new world and advance to a whole new level. Ning Cheng was crazily absorbing the spiritual qi from the best quality spirit stones to attack this barrier. He was eager to know what the world would be like after advancing. He was also eager to have a stronger strength. Best quality spirit stones in the true cultivation world were extremely rare. There were simply not many of them. Very few people would use best quality spirit stones to attack the essence building realm. Moreover, he had used 2 of them. But for Ning Cheng, even after he crazily absorbed the 2 best quality spirit stones, the barrier in his body did not break through. The spiritual qi required to break through this barrier was far beyond his imagination. When the 2 best quality spirit stones turned into flying ash, Ning Cheng did not hesitate at all, and once again took out 2 best quality spirit stones. If he gave up now, then not only would he have wasted 2 best quality spirit stones, but his cultivation would also not be able to break through in a short period of time. The pure and rich spiritual qi from the 2 best quality spirit stones once again rushed into Ning Cheng's meridians. Under the operation of Ning Cheng's cultivation method, it once again exploded against the barrier that shackled Ning Cheng's cultivation. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.